Good evening and welcome to the MODUS Super Series, where we have a Saturday night to savour under the roof at the church. You have a king, we have a queen, and we could be looking north as well. We even have an Irishman and a Scotsman in the field. It really is going to be a finals night to savour, and alongside me for all of the darting drama to come, Paul the Asset Nicholson. And Paul, we've had some week, some journey to get here.
It's easy for me to stand here, Henry, and say that we have had a great week and that it has been full of spectacular moments. But week 12, it provided incredible stuff in Super Series 1 with the Chris Mason story. This story in week 12 of Super Series 2 is not over yet. We do get the feeling that something special could potentially happen tonight, but this week really has been a cluster of unpredictability. But towards the end of the week, the really big hitters started to tell us why they've got that reputation.
Indeed, yesterday was perhaps one of the best doubled session days we've ever had in this competition. Let's have a look then at the week as a whole by having a look at the weekly highlights. John Henderson has played a lot of darts recently, but last night came into his own.
Yeah, 2 ton-plus averages and didn't even afford any opponent a dart or a double in the first couple of matches he played on Friday. He was sublime, but Jared Cole, I think he's gone under the radar, strangely finishing in second position in Group C. I was really impressed with Fallon last night. This was the real moment. Shaking the bullseye with a 164, she was stunning.
And she was scaring a lot of finishers like that last night. Richard North was scaring everyone in Group C. Really was the dominant force, helped by this 167 to beat Danny Smith.
A lot of stuff like that for Richard North this week. And his own little slice of history with 20 points in Group C. Niall Culleton just plodding along all week. He hasn't played anywhere near his best this week, but he has fought so valiantly.
And then Lee Budgen, our Group A winner, and perhaps at the start of the week a surprise, but on Tuesday he really did push when it was getting close.
Yeah, and he got that finish on Tuesday as well. Funnily enough, that 140 out is his only ton-plus check out of the whole week. Admittedly, he's only played 15 games compared to some of the others, but to have 1 ton-plus out and well over 2180s, there are some interesting stats in there that we're going to crunch in the first few games.
Most definitely. So that is how the 6 finalists got here. Let's have a look then at the groups in play this evening. The 6 players are always split up into 2 groups of 3. That's our pool stage for the evening. So every player will get 2 games on the Saturday night. Group 1, Jared Cole, Fallon Sherrock, Lee Budgen. Lee Budgen will be the outside, but the way he's played this week, the level he's played at this week, he'll fancy his chances.
He will fancy his chances, but I just get the feeling that he's going to need to play at his Monday level, average-wise, if he is going to get through this one. I think it's a very tough ask against the 2 people tonight who have registered weekly titles with us in the past. Nobody else has done that. So Sherrock and Cole, for me, are fancied. One thing I do like about Group 1 and Group 2, though, is that you've got the people clustered together who have played similar lengths of darts this week. So when you look at Group 2, they've played 2 groups each. As for Group 1, they've played 1 group each. So they're going to have similar levels of endurance used up. So I think the battles are going to be very fair.
Just quickly, Group 2. Ouch, ouch, and ouch.
Ouch for them, but brilliant for us. I think the closer it is, the better it is for these fans as well. You can hear the buzz that is around this Modus Live Lounge right now. I think everybody knows that something possible is coming tonight. We're still waiting for our first 170 of the week. We could get that. We could even get that magical 9-darter.
I think it could happen tonight. I'm going to stick my neck out on the line right now. So that is what we think. What do the bookmakers think about tonight's session? Because we can have a look at the odds, and I've not known a week, Paul, where the betting in terms of the favourite has changed hands so many times. It's changed again overnight.
Yeah, the one thing I can't wrap my brain around is Richard North at 4-1 not being the favourite, because he got 20 points out of a possible 20 over the last couple of days. Now, the only reason I can think of is that he has not played a night session, so the bookies don't know what it's like for him to play a little bit later in the day, but Jared Cole is very, very dangerous. The outsider being Fallon Sherrock at 17-2. I just don't know. The great thing about tonight is that any one of these players could win it, and to see someone of the experience of Sherrock being the outsider is mind-boggling.
It's got a bit quiet in here because I know the players are on the jockeys, about to get underway. Just very quickly, your final thoughts and predictions ahead of tonight.
Bring it on. I'm really looking forward to some of these group games. the complexity of Saturday night is that we can only look forward to the group battles. We don't know what the semi-finals and final are going to be. I'm intrigued to see what they will be. I think it could be any combination, but I do get the feeling that maybe Jared Cole and Fallon Sherrock may be the favourites in their group. As for the other one, anything's possible.
Carnage, but we like it like that. Game 1 of our evening sees Lee Budgen take on Jared Cole. Budgen, the victor of Group A, and I caught up with both players earlier on this evening ahead of their group campaigns, beginning with the Group A winner, Budgen. Lee, finals night here at the Super Series. How would you reflect upon your week so far?
I played all right. I think Tuesday was a relaxer for me, winning 5 out of 5. I didn't expect to win 5 out of 5. I just wanted to get a couple of wins on the board and just get the confidence going, and so that kind of settled me down. But I think I played all right. I think I can play a lot better, though.
Couple of days off. How have you spent them?
Just lounging in the hotel room, trying to kill some time. It's kind of it's been difficult, really. Part of me wanted to play in it, just keep my arm going and keep the match practice going. But then at the same time, I've had 2 days off, so hopefully I can feel fresh and ready to play.
Looking forward tonight, because obviously it's a different element on Saturday night. We're going to have the crowd in. It's going to be a sizable one this evening. You're looking forward to that added element of it?
Yeah, I am, yeah. I've been thinking about it in the hotel room, how it's going to be different with the crowd, and it's new to me, so, I mean, I don't know much about this, so we'll see how it goes.
Of course, that little possibility of Champions Week as well.
Yeah, I'm trying not to think about it, to be honest with you. Take it one game at a time, and we'll see. See if I win the first few games, then maybe I'll start thinking about it.
No worries at all. Lee, thank you very much for your time.
Cheers.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you. Cheers.
Jared, welcome to finals night. How would you assess your week so far?
A very mixed bag. When it's been good, it's been very good, but there's a few bits of my game that I want to pick up tonight, so hopefully that will come through on the board.
Has the last couple of days been about piecing bits together? Because we've seen you at Q-Scores, seen you at Challenge Tour, so you had some good runs as well at the Challenge Tour. Is it about getting everything together this last couple of days?
Yeah, basically. I mean, last couple of days, it's been a case of getting used to a new set of equipment, and I feel like for the long run, it's going to help me big time. Maybe not tonight, but I do hope it is tonight. I mean, I feel good, I'm throwing well, so hopefully it will come through.
And it's a blockbuster lineup tonight. Obviously, some big names in it. There's a big crowd. I can hardly actually hear you when you answer the questions. So it's going to be a big night, but you love these big occasions, don't you?
Yeah, I always love a big crowd and a good atmosphere, let's say. But yeah, I mean, fingers crossed tonight's the night where dreams come true. But yeah.
Wish you all the best, Jared. Good luck.
Thank you.
The live lounge is packed out tonight with the tension coursing through the air. This could well be a finals night to savour. So whatever you're doing, sit back, relax and enjoy what could be a scintillating night at the Arrows. A big occasion needs a big commentary team, and we have just the ticket for you. So let's join Paul Nicholson and Matthew Edgar for what could be 9 fantastic matches.
Thank you very much, Henry. And the Week 12 finals will start here with the 22-year-old from Hertfordshire, who has impressed over the last couple of days in Group C. It's been a few days since we've seen Lee Budgen on this hockey. In fact, not since around 2 o'clock on Wednesday, when he booked his place on this Saturday night via 20 points in Group A. Just to give you an indication of how good Richard North has been.
First leg, it's Lee to throw first. Game on.
Over the last couple of days. He got 20 points in 2 days. Lee Budgen got 20 in 3. In 5 more games than Richard North.
28.
Now, Lee Budgen won Group A. Jared Cole was second in Group C. But don't let that fool you. He's the bookie's favourite to win tonight, Matthew Edgar.
I would have to agree with that. I've been really, really impressed with Jared Cole. And when we came into Group C, I said
84.
Jared Cole for that group. Richard North was just exceptional, though, throughout that group, which denied Jared Cole. And it was interesting, actually, listening to Lee Budgen's interview
57.
there and trying to pick it apart. And I was making so many notes. I think I wrote down it word for word. I think I've got more of a transcript, actually, because everything he said had interesting. It had value. He talks about that relaxer he had on Tuesday where he went 5 from 5 and it made the group easy. There's no relaxer here. This is cutthroat darts.
125.
2 matches. You have to win at least 1. You need a plus leg difference to guarantee that qualification. He also mentioned about the crowd, didn't he? So
82.
he's not got that relaxer. And he said that he'd been sitting around in the hotel trying to work out what it'd be like. you don't know what it's going to be like. It's trying to
59.
imagine a feeling that you've got no sort of experience of, and it just becomes an expectation, which... How do we know we're going to get that right? Have we got the law of attraction in there?
135.
That's his best visit
Jared
so far.
120.
Jared has a chance of a 15-darter to break the throw in the first leg. But that's not going to happen with,
60.
like he
Lee
said,
require 82.
new equipment that he's already broken in. 63 left for Budgen for this first leg. And here he is on the bullseye from the angle.
Game shot.
And he gets a settler.
Lee Budgen.
18 darts, that's impressive. He won't have been too buoyed by the fact that he
Second leg
started
is
the first leg
Jared to throw
pretty
first.
poorly, but he
Game on.
recovered very, very well.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish. That's what gets you the points.
140.
Throughout the course of Group A in the 15 games that he played, Lee Budgen averaged 85.78.
100.
But Jared Cole, in 10 games in Group C, averaged over 90. He's the only person coming
84.
into Saturday night with a running average this week of over 90. Just a shade, 90.14. But the one stat that really grabbed me
86.
was the likelihood of 180s from Lee Budgen. I worked out the ratios for all of these players here tonight.
140.
And Lee is averaging 1.6 180s per game. That's better than anybody else. But the one person who's closest to him
96.
is Cole.
Jared, you require 137.
So what you're saying is we should expect to see some 180s in this match.
We should, but we haven't had one yet.
97.
I had a little bit more expectation on a Saturday night, and I wouldn't be surprised if those likelihoods dropped a little bit.
83. Jared, you require 40.
So Jared tops for a level game. 13 darter. It still puts him in that 5-visit block.
20. Lee, you
Hold your throw in
require
5 visits. It is
136.
a very tough cookie to break.
That means that Jared will return.
58.
He does so with Budgen
Jared, you
unable to
require
leave a double.
20.
Doesn't want to start the night by missing lots of doubles.
Game shot on
And
the
he
second
doesn't.
leg. Jared Cole.
That's a slightly improved leg from leg one. Still in 6 visits though. And
Third leg
you
is Lee
will,
to throw
throughout the
first.
course of a
Game
week
on.
here in qualifying, see most legs in that bracket. This is the last week of qualifying before Champions Week next week. So if you are making plans for your darting viewing
58.
for next week, we will be here from 9:30 a.m. on Monday with a Champions Week lineup, and that
100.
lineup will be confirmed to you by the end of this evening.
When we talk about those visits, that's when we talk about the control and the level you've got in the
140.
game. If you're holding your throw in 6 visits, that's up to 18 darts. That is an 83 average.
121.
For your opponent to break that 83 average, they have to average 100.20. That's when we talk about match effectiveness, and the advantage of having the
99.
throw is you can actually be 17 points less and still win the leg.
We can boil it down and say that this game is not about averages at all.
56.
It's all about visits. One of my favourite ways of communicating that very statement is that a 13 darter is exactly the same as a 15.
125.
And Jared Cole get himself into 2-dart range right here, just like his opponent. Budgen having the darts in this very first match is by virtue of winning
92.
his group.
Lee, you require
That is one of the
79.
fringe benefits of winning Group A. But he won't have the darts against Fallon Sherrock a little bit later on. Double top.
59.
And Jared has a chance.
Jared, you require
His biggest finish of the week,
132.
167, the biggest.
Jared's had so many. I wouldn't be surprised he's got the biggest
92.
finish, the second biggest
Lee
finish, the
required
third biggest
20.
finish. He has been exceptional on the big outs.
This is important. Double 5.
10.
That was way too safe.
Jared, you require 40.
And Cole's got his chance to hit the front. I
30.
don't know about you, Matt, but that looked pretty quick
Lee
to me.
require 10.
Yeah, a bit rushed. I do agree. That was a very fast delivery. That is a very low. When you think the last one was really high, this would be a big dart.
6.
I would have made him feel a lot better.
If Jared's going to miss this double
required 10.
5, I'd say half a centimetre high would be the perfect marker for him. Maybe a little closer.
Game
That'll
shot
do.
on the third leg. Jared Cole.
He doesn't care whether it's 16 darts, 18 darts, or in that case, 20. It's a break.
Fourth
and
leg is
Budgen
Jared to throw
is
first.
behind
Game
for
on.
the first time this evening.
Interesting, actually, that you bring that up, because I think we can go on that a little bit deeper. When you mention that he doesn't care if it's
134.
20 darts, 24, 25, I believe that with Jared Cole. I don't believe that with Lee Budgen.
I think that's a fantastic point, because I think intrinsically he's
57.
thinking about his level. You and I have run into him at points this week, and the thing that pings with me more than anything else, and I think it did with you as well,
100.
he won 5 games from 5 on Tuesday. That's a hard thing to do in a Group A. He didn't look very happy.
140.
Yeah, because it's not the case of, oh, won the leg, whether it's 24 darts or not. He wants to do it well. And that is, in terms, a bit of a strength that you're always striving for that improvement. But in this case, I would say his strength is his weakness.
Maybe Lee Budgen at this portion of his career, because he does have a lot of ambition.
60. Jared, you require 87.
Is he slightly ahead this week of where he could have been? Well, we know who's ahead in the game,
Game
and we
shot
know
on
how
the
far
fourth
ahead he
leg.
is.
Jared Cole.
It's a big move from Jared Cole. A big move indeed. A 12 darter.
Lee to throw first. Game on.
And now he's got multiple chances to get this job done. Like Matt mentioned, because you have 2 group games here on finals night. If you're
58.
on 2 points and a plus or positive leg difference after 2 matches, you are guaranteed to have qualified.
134.
There is that glorious scenario where all 3 players are on the same points, the same leg difference, the same legs won. That would result in a magical 9-dart shootout. And it did happen in week 12 the last time.
I think if it's going to happen, I think that's in Group 2. Group 2, which will
57.
be starting after this match, consists of Niall Culleton, John Henderson, and Richard North. I think that's the most likely one to get one.
I'd have to agree. You'll see Fallon
58.
Sherrock for the first time in Game 3 up against Cole. Jared could find himself home and hosed by the end of Game 3, and then he'd have to wait
58.
until Game 7 to play in the semi-finals. Whereas the winner of Group A has got this strange scenario where his first game is in Game 1, second game's Game 5,
85.
and that's quite the wait.
Especially if you lose that first. I've been in this position. I've won a Group A before. I lost my first game to Justin Smith, the bearded dragon, the winner of
55.
week 2, who you'll see next week in Champions Week. He absolutely gave me a pummeling. And then I had to sit around waiting. And that's a lot of time to process.
97.
You work everything out. And that's something we know Lee Budgen does. He processes. He tries to imagine the future, because he's told us that's what he did in Imagining the Crowd.
And he's been doing it for 2.5 days. He said in his interview with
93.
Henry,
Lee
he's been sitting in his hotel room for
82.
2.5 days waiting for this chance. That's a beautiful bullseye. To save the match,
66.
Cole now gets this
Jared, you
104
require
chance
104.
for a big stride towards the semi-finals. Double 13.
Game
That is
shot.
masterful
And the match,
from Jared
Jared
Cole. He showed
Cole.
board flexibility and amazing execution, because the 54 was blocked. And in a flash, he said, right, plan B, 60 for double 13, and he finds it. We should all learn a bit from that from Jared Cole, and he's doing what he's been doing all week, averaging over 90, and his doubles were good enough. Lee Budgen has got it all to do in match number 5 against Fallon Sherrock. But before we go back to group number 1, it'll be group 2 starting with Niall Culleton up against John Henderson, who had a fabulous time of it yesterday.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Jared Cole has made a perfect start to his night. A 4-1 victor against Lee Budgen to get his campaign for the evening underway. Did so with an average of 90.5. The game solitary maximum, 4 out of 12 on the doubles, and a ton-plus finish as well. Not bad for starters. For Lee Budgen, he showed glimpses, but his next game for him against Fallon Sherrock, that's going to be in game 5. That is going to be a crucial one for him. He's going to have to win that to stand a chance of participating in the semi-finals. But we're going to park Group 1 for now, and we're going to begin Group 2, which features the Highlander, John Henderson. He was absolutely magnificent last night in his Group B campaign. 2 averages above the ton. He takes on Niall Culleton, a man who's been with us all week. It has been probably one of the most consistent performers that we've had here at the Super Series. And early on this evening, before their campaigns got underway, I spoke to the pair about their finals night campaign, beginning with Niall. Niall, welcome to finals night here at the Super Series. How would you assess your week?
Week's been fairly good. I've been throwing steady enough darts. I know there's a bit more in the tank in me, so I'm hoping I can bring it out tonight.
You're in 2 tough groups, but you more than held your own in both of those groups. Obviously, getting through to Group B meant you were in the top 3 of Group A, and then obviously in Group B, that Thursday night was fantastic for you.
Yeah, it's a good thing that I got off to a good start on the Thursday night. I needed it last night then. Kind of first 2 games were a bit off, but done the job yesterday and just got it sorted. It was a tough group all week, but it's been worthwhile the whole week.
Relaxed, refreshed ahead of tonight?
Very much so. Looking forward to it now and give it me all.
Look forward to watching you play. Niall, good luck.
Cheers, thanks very much.
Top man. John, welcome to finals night on your debut here at the Super Series. How would you reflect upon your debut week here?
It's been a roller coaster of a week, I must admit. It's been an endurance test, obviously coming straight from the Challenge Tour. I kind of struggled at the start of the week, but as the week's gone on, I've kind of found something energy there. But no, but I've enjoyed it. It's been different. It's a professional setup, which is what we need. So, but no, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm thrilled to be here at the finals night.
Played very well last night. Do you feel as if you're peaking at the right time?
I do believe so. I think I am. It's just coming at the right time. So hopefully I can continue that form tonight. And there are a few hard games tonight, which this MODUS Super Series have been giving me the hard games. So that's a good practice that I'm wanting. So enjoyed every minute of it, though.
And of course, it's a different field tonight. We're going to have people in here. There's going to be a crowd. There's going to be a little bit of noise and things like that. Looking forward to it?
I am. As I say, it's been absolutely quiet in here all week. So it's going to a wee bit of change tonight. But I can't blame the crowd. I've played in front of thousands before, so I should be okay.
I'm sure they're all going to be cheering for you. John, good luck.
Appreciate it, Henry. Thanks. Cheers.
The Highlander hit the heights yesterday in Group B. He takes on Niall Culleton, the man who has been dubbed Mr. Consistent here at the Super Series this week. It's the first game of Group 2 here at finals night at the Live Lounge, and it's going to be enjoyed in the company of Paul Nicholson and Matthew Edgar.
Thanks again, Henry. And 2 of the most lovable characters in the MODUS Super Series this week, right here, going toe-to-toe in group number 2 now. Niall Culleton of Ireland, who's had a very interesting week indeed. He hasn't really hit the heights of what he could possibly do. But as far as John Henderson is concerned, he waited until Friday to show us what he can really do. And boy, did he need it.
First leg, it's Niall to throw first. Game on.
I think John Henderson, when we summarise him, he's shown us what he can do. There was averages over 100. He's also shown us what I don't expect from him with those low averages and those low performances as well. So
81.
It's an interesting range on John Henderson. However, the big thing for me, and I think you'd agree, is he hits the ground running. He knows how to prepare for this first match, and he quite often comes into the game really strong.
That's absolutely the case, and he would love the kind of start that he got yesterday.
99.
4-0, averaging 100.2, and didn't afford his opponent 1 shot at a double.
121.
As if that wasn't good enough, he did the same thing in his next match, but he averaged 5 more. And it was against this guy.
85.
It's mad, wasn't it? 10 legs before someone had a dart of a double against him. It was insane. But we're talking about insane. The amount of darts he's been playing recently, I've just been working it out. In the last 16 days, that includes today, John Henderson has been playing in high competitive elite level sport for 13 out of those 16 days.
John, you require
and it all comes down to this day.
I'm not going to have those Premier League footballers whinging about their schedules. Just ask Hendo how he feels.
60.
Maybe ask him a little bit later, because he could be the one holding that novelty check a little bit later on. But it could be Niall, someone who has had close calls in weekly
90.
campaigns before,
John,
but this is John's
80.
debut, because this is his first opportunity of playing here. Lost his card a few weeks ago, and he's lost the chance of winning
40.
leg 1 right there by missing
Now
the single.
you require 88.
He's been good at this week. How good is he right here?
63. John,
Hendo
you require
does get a
40.
look. for a valuable break. Ooh, double 15.
Game
And
shot
finds
the
it as
first
well.
leg. John Henderson.
Valuable break of throw at the start. Seems to have the measure of Niall Culleton so far. But their head-to-head record this week is very,
Second
very
leg, it's
good.
John to throw first.
Very competitive.
Game
Hendo winning 4-0 yesterday gave him the edge. 3 games to 2 up on Cully, who won their fixtures on Monday
55.
and Thursday, both by 4-2.
Just want to go back to a few points you made there, actually.
96.
Because it links in quite well with a couple of bits. The first one, saying about him going to Q school, and he wasn't happy with that. He didn't want to be there. He tweeted them exact words on January the 12th from his Twitter account, @Hendo180. Said Q school starts for him. Disappointed to be here. I picked up on something because I remember reading that
60.
tweet. In his interview, he says, "This is good. It's the practice that I wanted." What exactly is he practicing for? This is the final.
99.
That's interesting to me. I picked up on that as well. And I do wonder if he thinks that this entire year
81.
is just
John, you require
practice to get back
167.
to the tour.
Josh Payne. That was him last year. I've been in the practicing with Josh Payne, and all year he was
95.
single-focused, single-minded. He was winning weeks here. He was doing, and all he ever spoke about was Pro Tour, Pro Tour, Pro Tour.
Yeah.
He went and got that card.
Graham Usher the same,
95.
but maybe not as
John, you
intense.
require 72.
Should be the 16s, and he's got 6 starts because Cully's on 169. You can't finish that. Double top. Love-hate relationship this week with tops.
Second leg.
Monday,
John
Tuesday,
Henderson.
Wednesday, and even a little bit of Thursday, he really was having a tiff with tops. But over the last
Third leg,
couple of
it's Niall to
days,
throw first.
he's
Game
really
on.
found his range on it. And one of the reasons why he's found his range on it is because he's gone from some new equipment that he used on
140.
Monday and Tuesday back to his old trusty darts on Wednesday, coupling that with some really intense practice on tops over the last 3
100.
days. His work ethic this week has been something extraordinary. First in the building every time.
140.
And while you're saying that, I will once again remind you, this is day 16, and he has played 13 of those 16 days. If he wins tonight,
140.
he's getting no time off. He's got Sunday off. He'll go get himself a roast dinner, and then he might be back on Monday
60.
to start another 6 days of potential darts.
I remember in the early portion of 2021 when someone that John knows quite well, a guy called
41.
Sean McDonald,
No, you
he
require
played in
161.
week 4 and then went into the Champions Week the following week and he played 16 days straight. 16! But in the course of those 16 days, he did have a 15-game
60.
winning streak.
We've heard from John Henderson tonight on interview. Do you know when I'd like to hear from John Henderson?
140.
A day after
No,
he
you
gets home.
require
And he
101.
can sit down and reflect on everything from Q School to the Challenge Tour to here.
He's barely had a chance to process anything.
81.
Cully misses tops.
John, you require 80.
And Henderson has got the equivalent of 2 of them. He went for 2 of them. He's been hanging out with Northie.
40.
Guess who's in this group?
No, you require 20.
Richard North.
Game
It's
shot
now
in the
2-1.
third leg.
Cullerton
Niall
does
Culleton.
burn a life there with Henderson missing tops. That's 3 legs in.
Fourth
And
leg, it's John
Hendo
to throw
still
first.
has the darts.
Game on.
Yeah, I'll certainly be subscribing to his Twitter account as well so I can check to see if he puts any sort of tweet or thing out once he's home and reflected. Because a lot of the time we get caught up in this world and the world takes us over and we get... And I had a moment of this, and this is very similar. I went out to walk the dog.
55.
I don't always walk the dog. The missus normally does that. I went out to walk the dog about a week or so ago. And while he's going round, you just detach yourself from the world you're around. The world John Henderson's around right now is darts. When you step out of that, and you have a moment to reflect, you're like, wow, the world has changed so much in this period of time.
100.
When John Henderson reflects on what has happened to him over the last 3 weeks, it'll be interesting to see how he then processes, because evaluation is the key to success.
60.
Judging by what's been happening over the last year, he's been away from home for that long a time. It wouldn't surprise him if there'd been 2 or 3 changes to the Prime Minister's
81.
residence.
John, you require 167.
We don't get political here at the MODUS Super Series. We talk about darts because we love it. So far, Hendo's loving this position.
100.
He likes that third dart. Takes the pressure off. This is a good performance. It's well measured.
47.
Unfortunately
John,
for
you
Niall,
require
he has not left the
67.
finish. And Hendo can do whatever he wants here. Lay up for tops. Can he hit it?
Game shot.
Silly question. 3-1 to
John
Hendo.
Henderson.
And the big hitters are starting to make their presence felt. The favoured players with the bookmakers earlier on were Cole, North and Henderson.
And on these sort of nights when you've been so tired and worn down like Henderson, when you get to this night, this is a night where it feels like a reward. It feels like everything you've done was worthwhile. You'll be up there really enjoying this battle.
And they do get a little bit of cash for just getting to Saturday night, of course. And if you get further, that cash goes up a bit.
100.
Until eventually somebody is left standing. And that last person standing will walk away with 10 times as much as what you get for just being here. That is the beauty of playing professional darts. You have this ability to up your daily rate
60
tenfold. That doesn't happen in normal work.
Well, this is not a normal job, and these are not normal talents. These are international standard players.
85.
Playing at the very, very top level.
I love that you said that, international standard players, because this guy's the Irish captain. He's arguably one of the best
100.
they have. He's the man who leads the pack.
136.
Hendo's played for Scotland in both the BDO and the PDC and won in both.
50. Now you require 101.
Sets up a possible 86 for the match, but if that's going to happen, first needs Niall to miss this 101. Niall loves tops. Been hitting it all week for fun.
61.
The fun might be about to
John,
end.
you require
That's twice
86.
in this game, Matt, where he's missed the 101 on tops. Hendo's got 68. Now it's the bull for the match.
61.
Little
now
purse
you
of the
require
lips,
40.
which signifies to him that he was close, he was right.
Game
And
shot on
Cullerton
the 5th leg.
just stops him in his
Cullerton.
tracks for now. This one, very far from done.
Earlier in the week, we've seen
to throw first.
John Henderson
Game
sort
on.
of tail off as it's gone, as that fatigue's kicked in. I don't think we see that tonight. I think every game's going to be adrenaline-filled. He's not playing a process. He's not playing a
96.
marathon. He's playing loads of games that really... And I keep going on about the amount of time he's played, and it is so relevant compared to the rest. I mean, when John Henderson left his house
55.
to go play darts a few weeks ago and he set on this journey, Niall Culleton was actually clean-shaven.
96.
I think that's the best joke you've made all week, actually. Unless he's using aftershave
100.
that is coupled with Miracle Grow. Ender 1309 did not start on the 19s.
59.
I think the reason for that being, one, he's a bit old school when it comes to the counting, and secondly, Niall behind him by half a dart, so the urgency to leave the finish
100.
wasn't there. But it's a bit more urgent now, as this crowd here in Portsmouth gets a little bit hushed as we inch towards the end of this game. Will it be over in 6
100.
legs or 7?
But look at the crowd. Everybody, deadly silent, just staring at the screen. They are so engrossed in this battle.
100. John, you
We're
require
appreciative of the opportunity
150.
to see a player like John Henderson, a World Cup winner, and they are up close and personal.
45. Now you require 146.
Well, Cully will fancy his chances now. But too often tonight, he has veered off on the line of the dart.
88. John, you require 105.
John has got 105 to win the match. He gets a shot at tops. And that's what he takes.
And the match, John Henderson.
4-2 Hendo and first blood to the Highlander. And now Cullerton is in the same sort of position as Lee Budgen in Group 1. He will have to win his second game of the group, and that will be against Richard North in Game 6. But for Henderson, if he beats Richard North in Game 4, he will win Group 2 and will be part of the second semi-final. 91.91 is a very impressive performance on his first visit to Saturday night here in Portsmouth, and 50% on the checkouts is very useful as well. His final 3 darts of that first game for him tonight were the killer ones. When we come back, it will be Jared Cole against Fallon Sherrock. The Queen of the Palace is coming right up.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where John Henderson has got his campaign off to the perfect start. No Hendo, no party here at the Live Lounge, and he has sealed a 4-2 success against Niall Culleton in his opening match, and he did it with a 91.91 average, 1 maximum in the match, a 105 high checkout, 4 out of 8 on the doubles. We said something special is going to happen this evening, and the standard so far has been delightful. And so John Henderson in a really good position to qualify for the semi-finals. Jared Cole can qualify for the semi-finals if he can get the better of Fallon Sherrock, who we haven't seen so far this evening. She's the 3rd player in Group 1. She qualified via Group B on Thursday and Friday night, and she completed a perfect card of fixtures yesterday to ensure of her place into tonight's final. And early on this evening, I caught up with the Queen of the Palace to assess her chances ahead of the big occasion. Fallon, welcome to finals night here at the Super Series. How would you reflect on the last couple of days?
I'm really happy with the last couple of days. You know, I feel like my game's improved the more that I've played, and I'm really excited to play tonight.
First, did you feel unlucky just to get 2 points? Because you played some really good games, perhaps didn't quite get the results, and then Friday you completed the card.
Yeah, I think, you know, I felt a bit unlucky the first day, you know, only getting 2 points, because I felt like I played a little bit better, but you know, it's one of them games, like if you miss doubles and you can't score, you're not going to get the games. But yeah, I went into tomorrow thinking, you know, just got to try and win as many games as I can, and luckily I got through.
And then tonight, really good practice room full of really good players. We've got the crowd in as well. It's one of those electric nights, which is what this competition really is all about.
Yeah, definitely. There's a good quality of players in there, and I'm really excited to kind of get up on stage and show both what I can do, and hopefully, you know, play some good darts.
Look forward to watching you play. Fallon, good luck.
Thank you.
Game 3 sees the King of the Castle take on the Queen of the Palace, but who is going to reign supreme? We're about to find out in the company of Paul Nicholson and Matthew Edgar. Gents.
Thank you, Henry. Big improvements from Fallon Sherrock from Thursday to Friday. She upped her average by over 4 points for the night, and that yielded 6 more points than she got on the previous day. It's easy for us to say this now. She was incredibly impressive on Friday night. Jared has been impressive for the last 2 days. But the amount of pressure she was under on Friday was enormous. But she knows about pressure.
Jared to throw first. Game on.
She lives with pressure. She knows how to handle it. She was never in the top 3 of Group B until the very last dart she threw.
100.
When she beat John Henderson. I call that timing your run to perfection.
Well, if that was a horse race, you'd have said, what a fantastic
134.
ride. As you just come up and just take it on the nose, on the bob. But do you know what? I mentioned this earlier in the week. In 2022, Fallon Sherrock was poor.
140.
She went round the World Series. She wasn't losing to the best players in the world. She was losing to the local qualifiers with 70 averages. And you started
81.
to fear for her. You thought, where is this going? Where is this going to conclude? However, 2023, she just missed out on a tour card, averaged 98 in a game 55. That probably would have got her tour card. She went to the Challenge Tour, couple of last 16s. She come here. She played exceptional in qualifying.
41.
And then the words she used in that interview. Everybody else has gone, I hope I can play well. I hope I can do this. I hope I can do that. Let's see how it goes.
90.
Fallon, and I quote, I want to showboat what I can do.
There is
100.
an innate focus
Jared required 160.
and flair about her that I don't even think people can understand yet. Cole does not get the treble he needed.
92.
He's got the darts.
Fallon, you require 145.
Fallon has to break him somehow. It's not going to be with a 145. Her best finish of this week, 164,
Jared,
which you may have seen in the highlights package at the start of the show. Double 6.
Game shot on the first leg.
And he fends off Sherrock with a very good last dart of that leg. Fallon was hoping
Second
at the back
leg
of
is
the
Fallon
stage.
to throw first.
Go on,
Game
give me a shot. But there's no defence in darts. You can't stop your opponent from hitting that double 6.
58.
Just while we have these two at the hockey, we have to pay tribute to the finishing that we saw from Fallon yesterday.
58.
But you said it in Jared's first game. Over the last couple of days, if you were keeping a bingo card of his finishes, you may have run out of yellow
100.
ink in your bingo pen. Thinking about things like a 160, you might hit that
85.
once a month in competitive action. But it was quite extraordinary, actually. Things like 167, 130 to win a match,
60.
160, 126, 117. He's hit them all. And that's only the tip of the iceberg. But that 130 that he hit in his third match against Reece Colley,
135.
that was extraordinary. It changed the complexity of Group C completely. And now, if you think about his position in this group,
134.
he needs 3 more legs and he's in the semis.
And it changed the complexion of that group. But how much more will it change? We don't know what the future
79.
holds. He could go on and win this.
Fallon, you
Go
require
to the Champions League. He
149.
could go on and win that. And if you wind it all back, it all came down to that one moment that kept him in the hunt.
97.
There is always
Jared, you
something
require
when someone wins a
144.
title where you go, that was a big moment that if that didn't work for you, could have changed a lot.
So you plant the flag in the ground and say that's where it started. Very well said, Matt. Double top. Big dart. And she's up to it. 1-1.
Fallon Sherrock.
I did think this game was going to be close. And when certain people have approached me for
Third leg, it's
tips
Jared to
today,
throw first.
including our
Game
friends
on.
at Sporty Stuff TV, do you know what I did with this game? I left it alone. Because these guys
99.
couldn't be separated in the betting for this. They thought it was a pick-em game.
And sometimes
59.
the best advice is no advice. The best advice is enjoy the match, let it play. There's value elsewhere afoot, and there is value today. There's value around these games. You did put a little
58.
treble on, I believe, wasn't it, with Sporty Stuff?
Yeah, we talked about the possibility of an accumulator, which was Cole beating Budgen,
97.
Sherrock beating Budgen, and Richard North beating Cullerton, and that accumulator paid 5-1. But remember, everybody, if you are having a gamble on this late hour on Saturday night, please
134.
gamble responsibly. It's for over 18s only, and begambleaware.org is the website you require for more information on that.
100.
Who's going to be the first to jolt? Not Jared.
138.
You just sense that this game could be won by Jared constantly doing the right thing.
59.
But
Jared,
if
you
Sherrock
require
is to win it, she
72.
might need Jared to make a big error.
I'm going to make a prediction. I like predictions. How many times have we seen that this
Game
week
shot
and
on
then
the third
recovered?
leg.
The
Jared
big 16
Cole.
missed with a double 16. I think that's about 7 times. We've seen that now. It's a incredible
Fourth leg,
miss,
it's
but
Fallon to
always
throw
well recovered
first.
by the
Game
players.
on.
So well done, Jared Cole, for digging out of that situation. I was going to give a prediction before Jared Cole surprised me there with that
85.
different way of taking out the 72. I think this game goes all holds of throw.
140.
I wouldn't be surprised. Just to concur with Matt, we've been sitting here since 9:30 on Monday morning. I think that is the 7th time that we've seen somebody hit a double 16 instead of a 16 and then recover. It has been one of the stories of the week.
45.
If we do get all holds of throw here, that tells me about Group 1 that leg difference doesn't mean anything.
92.
Because the Sherrock Budgen game would become a shootout. Is Cole making his move though?
180.
He got a 180 in his first game. He's got his first right here. And he's lifting his average towards the 100 mark.
42. Jared, you require 136.
Is that the slip? The opportunity could present itself here for Jared Cole to make that prediction not last very long.
60. Fallon, you require 145.
Where does she go with dart 2? Where's she going with dart 3?
105.
Plots her way around the board and almost takes that big out. The 2-2, and Jared can break right here if he finds double 8.
Game shot on the
He made that look easy.
Jericho.
And maybe the bookies have got it right with him as the favourite because he's hitting the heights. High 97 average.
Fifth leg, it's Jared to throw first.
50% on the doubles. This is a high level of performance. Got something that I'm desperate to ask you, Mark, because of Cole's position,
85.
he just needs one more leg and he's got feet up for 3 games before he plays in the semi-finals.
134.
I know that Fallon doesn't look at the complexity of the night like we do, but after seeing Jared Cole beat Lee Budgen,
140.
she is now in this position where she doesn't have to win this match. She just has to beat Lee.
100.
Does that add pressure or does it decrease it?
I think it depends on the person you're talking about. And in this situation,
58.
I think Fallon don't really care too much. I think she's fine with it. She'll take this all in a stride. If you're talking about Lee Budgen, I think it's the opposite.
97.
I think we're going into that game with one person who's going to be cool as ice and one person who's going to be living every single dart.
And we've got 2 players in this game right here who have improved
180.
as the week has gone on. Can
170.
Sherrock stay in the match with a 170 checkout? No, she can't. She's improved as the week's gone on. Budgen has regressed.
134.
But Cole
Jared, you
is
require
38 points away
38.
from the semis. He's
Game,
there
shot,
already.
and the match.
That was a hugely
Jericho.
impressive performance. And he's raised his level from his first game by 8 points. Sherrock loses that game by 4 legs to 1, but she knows that when she comes back in a couple of games' time against Lee Budgen with the darts as well, she just has to beat him to join Cole in the semi-finals, admittedly in a different fixture. Cole, very impressive, and he's going to take some stopping tonight. As far as the next game's concerned, it's John Henderson back at the hockey with the darts this time, and we'll get our first look at Richard North. He's Mr. Perfect from Group C.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Jared Cole had secured his passage through to the semi-finals with an impressive performance against Fallon Sherrock to get the better of the Queen of the Palace in the middle game of Group 1. He did have an average of 98.25, 2 maximums, 4 out of 6 on the doubles. Fallon Sherrock averaged just under 92 and change, but could only get 1 leg for her troubles, 1 out of 3 on the doubles. That was how far she was restricted. She's going to be playing Lee Budgen, what is now effectively a decider to see who gets the second spot through Group 1. Jared Cole is through now to the semi-finals. We can confirm that from Group 1 this evening. So the second game of Group 2 sees John Henderson in action against Richard North, and in similar vein to Group 1, where if Jared could have secured the victory having played first, he'd make his way through to the semi-finals. John Henderson, the Highlander, can do similar, but he is up against Richard North, the man who won Group C, having won all 10 of his matches to qualify through. We heard from Richard North earlier on this evening. He gave us a little bit of a chat on the stage, and these are his thoughts ahead of finals night. Richard North, finals night. You said you wanted to be here on Monday morning. You are here. How would you assess your week?
Yeah, I'm playing better than I've played for years. I'm going to win it, so yeah, that's what matters.
I was going to say this week you've looked rather relaxed, but just by judging by that answer, you look as confident as you have been for a while.
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday I wasn't. I was shaking like a leaf. But I started finding a bit of form Thursday. You know, going 10, 11 games unbeaten. How can you not have confidence? So
something obviously clicked between the Wednesday going into the Thursday to go 10 from 10 in that Group C. What kind of happened between those 2 days? Or was it the help of getting to 0 maybe in that second group that helped you?
yeah, I think just starting fresh again. I just looked at it starting fresh, and then, you know, a couple of the games went my way and I just ran with it. So yeah, bit of luck at times, but I think I was consistent through the days. So yeah, happy with the performance, and I got confidence from it. So.
And just finally, some big names in that audience, a big crowd as well in this finals night, but this is nights that's all about Richard North, isn't it? These are the occasions you love.
Yeah, like I say, yeah, I don't really know what to say. I'll let my darts do talking tonight, hopefully. So yeah, put on a good show for the crowd. So
we look forward to watching you play, Richard. Good luck.
Cheers, Emery. Cheers.
Top man. Richard North against John Henderson is the middle match in Group 2, and it promises to be quite the cracker. So, in the commentary box to describe all the action, here's the asset, and here's prime time for this prime time tussle.
Well done, Henry. You did an interview with Richard North where you got more than one question in. But my, did he sound confident in the approach to today. He said he was nervous Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You can kind of go along with that when you look back at those days, but Thursday, Friday was exceptional in dominating Group C and finishing top of that table. He is having a reacquaintance here, though, with John Henderson. The two parted and went different ways. John Henderson went through to Group B, which was the evenings, while Richard North carried on in the mornings. So this is the 4th time this week that these two would have met. This group is
first
a repeat.
leg, it's John to throw first. Game on.
In Group 1, they haven't met so far, but Richard North, that interview, very un-Richard North, wasn't it? He says he's going to let the darts do the talking. That is the first time Richard North has ever let
64.
the darts do the talking rather than his mouth.
He actually approached us a little bit earlier in the evening and said, I don't talk too much. And
39.
both myself and Matthew looked at each other as if to say, did he just say that? But it was a very odd interview because it felt like he wanted
60.
to express how confident he was, but it was as if he just couldn't wait to get cracking. Now that's what I want to see from Richard. I want
44.
him to let his darts do the talking, because let's face it, over the last couple of days he showed a great deal of consistency, and at times he's been tested in some great games of darts, and he has come out shining. None more so than his final games in Group C, where he won them both by the odd leg. And yesterday he finished off with a 156 checkout against Jared Cole. That was a brilliant game.
I'm not sure you did Richard North enough credit there when you said that he's been very consistent. I think he's been very brilliant in Group C.
Yeah, he's had his moments of explosion as well.
John, you require 57.
He's against the darts here, and Hendo maybe is back in the mood.
Game shot
And takes the first leg in 15. This is the level that he was attaining in his first 2 games yesterday. Very much accustomed to playing the evening session, something that Richard hasn't done yet this week. We coined the famous phrase earlier in the week
105
from our commentary colleague from another network, Dan Dawson, who used to say, "Is it a big Hendo weekendo?" Well, it's Hendo.
134.
Time will tell to see whether it is the big Hendo weekendo.
55.
North is going to have to be really sharp in this game, I feel. He's the last person to grace the hockey for the first time tonight. He'll play Hendo here.
100.
And Niall Culleton in game 6. And he's in the same position as Sherrock. If he loses to John in this game, he knows that he can
46.
still qualify if he takes out Cullerton in the next match.
Don't know why he keeps going for the ball in middle parts of legs.
Neither do I.
100.
You won't get that from John. And that's already 2 maximums from him. If North hasn't taken notice
41
of the form of
Johnny
Hendo yet,
87.
he should. Doesn't have to go 20 in bull, hence the pause.
47.
That's perfect.
North, far from perfect. The man you dubbed Mr. Perfect in Group C.
58. John, you require 40.
He was. 20 points from 20.
Game shot
40 points from 40.
John Henderson.
Averaging well over 100 in the first couple of legs.
Third leg, it's John
107 in fact.
Game on.
Looking to try and beat his personal best from this week of 105.47. He's the only person who has averaged
96.
over 100 twice this week. And he did them in consecutive games. Richard was the first person to average for a day over 90.
100.
And that came on Thursday. But he was closely followed by Jared Cole, who did that yesterday.
140.
This is a blitzing scoring performance from John. And Northie's in a bit of bother. He might not get a leg on the board. And look at the gap between them.
42.
Yeah, he's looking flustered. He's struggling. And to be fair, if I was having 109.24 pumped into me, I think I'd be struggling as well.
I'd be more worried about the fact that I was averaging 70. He hasn't averaged that low all week.
61.
He has had a few averages this week which have been low, but he's been playing the player.
58.
Every now and again, he's had a win with a low 80s or high 70s average, but he's done enough. Against John right now, he's going to have to find
60.
somewhere in the region of at least 25 more on this.
It's written all over his face, isn't it? He doesn't know what's gone wrong. He can't figure it out. He needs something. He needs a spark.
41.
He's got an opportunity. Endo just took the foot off the gas slightly. But you feel it needs to be something like a max.
Like a first start hitting the right spot.
140.
That's better.
John, you require 106.
If John misses this, the spark could be the 98 out. And he has missed it.
58. Richard, you require
If Niall
98.
Culleton was going for this shot, he'd go 18s first. That's what he's been doing this week. There's been a process about Richard this week. Sip of water, adjust the shirt, and hit the shot. This is really tricky.
60.
I held my breath. I wasn't sure if that was in or not.
John, you require 48.
I thought it was when you looked at the angle of the dart, but it just come a little bit low. Is it love or is it hate?
Game shot on the third leg. John Henderson
holds on to his throw. He's a leg away from the match. And
fourth leg, it's Richard to throw first. Game
that
on.
Is now Hendo qualified because he will be on plus legs and 2 points So even if North comes back and wins this 4-3,
100.
Hendo will be on +1. He's through.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Hendo is in the semis. Even before he's finished his campaign. Well done, John.
45.
He won't know that. He's a greenhorn this week. He won't know the complexities of the rules
100.
unless he's been a viewer of the MODUS Super Series, which I believe he has watched in the past, because he has texted and tweeted in before. But he's a player this time, and he's got his third maximum of the match.
80.
John Henderson went into that game yesterday with Fallon Sherrock thinking he needed to win it to qualify.
100.
And he thought when he lost that game, he was out. He has no idea what is going on because he was already through by an absolute mile going into that game.
Yeah, ignorance is
81.
bliss sometimes, especially in group play. North has got to get a move on. It's not about leg difference for him.
92.
It's about just getting something in the way of confidence before he plays Niall Culleton. He's just got to hold on here for as long as he can and just create a little bit
100.
of resilience.
Richard, you require 109.
This is a better leg. He's found a treble with every throw. He's going in the right direction. But that direction might be towards the practice room.
101. John, you
Henderson
require
takes this
95.
95. That's the journey he's going to be going on.
He's going 19s originally. Double 18. He's been trying a few different
55.
routes this week.
Richard, you
Can
require
North get his
8.
first leg of the contest to stop Hendo from getting a match dart?
Gage
Yes.
on the 4th leg. Richard North.
A somewhat ironic celebration from Northie. I
5th leg,
don't
it's
know,
John's to throw
and I'd
first.
love to get your
Game
take on this because I think when it comes to the mental side of the game, you may have me trumped. How do you read Richard after doing that?
44.
Not where he was this week. However, can just take the tension out of the situation. Just relax it a little bit.
81.
Great last start there from Richard North as well. And when we talk about tension, Hendo will not know he's through. He will probably believe he needs to win this game.
42.
And Richard North can just keep getting the scraps, keep getting bits on the board, and you never know when it might just re-click.
140.
That's a little bit better. 2 treble visits have not been his strength so far in this game, but that will be very much welcomed.
60.
Would your advice to someone like Richard be play the same way as you have the last couple of days and imagine that the audience isn't even there?
Oh, absolutely.
83.
He'll know that as well. But the beauty Richard North's got here is because he's in that second game, this is a freebie. This is a free match because he's always got the backup plan of
90.
playing Niall Culleton in a straight shootout.
Here's another scenario. What if he goes and wins it 4-3? Against Niall, he'd just need legs.
39.
Hendo has just lost that form a little bit here.
Got to switch.
105.
That's intelligent.
Richard, you require 158.
This is one of those finishes that Richard doesn't have this week. Until... Well, he was so good with that second
84.
dart, I couldn't see any of it. It's almost
John,
like
you
it
require
disappeared.
160.
And that last dart might have turned a 2-darter into a potential 3. That dart slipping into the 4 now with Hendo missing this could be crucial.
60.
Instead of 20 for tops,
Richard, you require
he now needs a
74.
treble with the first dart.
Treble 18. For double 10. Can he cushion it in? It's
Game
a
shot on the
beautiful,
5th leg.
beautiful dart.
Richard North.
Very difficult to execute that one. And I just get the feeling that he is a little bit relaxed. He
6th
is
leg, it's
someone who
Richard to throw
studies the
first.
statistics a
Game on.
lot. He talks about averages a lot. But maybe he knows from his previous MODUS Super Series experience
93.
that if he does lose this match, he still has that opportunity against Niall Culleton. He is relaxing in this game. The only way we will find out
100.
is to judge the intensity of this game with the next.
The other thing with that is because John Henderson
40.
started so strong, he could have been in that mode of, why now? Why me? Why has all this come to this? And now we're getting this amazing performance where John Henderson, let's face it, was
100.
practically unplayable in those first couple of legs. He had 3 180s in the first couple of legs and was checking out with no problems.
Yeah, 28 darts for those first 2 legs. That's
100.
world class wherever you play. Portsmouth, Milton Keynes, Sydney, Melbourne or Auckland, or somewhere in between. That's world class.
45.
Even, to add to that list, the Alexandra Palace.
And they've both graced that stage in their careers. In fact, we've said already this week that these two... Wow!
180.
How did he fit that in? And there was a young kid in the front row there clapping that one as if to say, I don't know how you did that either, Richard. But these are the 2 players...
Richard, you require 88.
...who are male, who have graced a final in the PDC, because Sherrock has as well, in Copenhagen. Treble 7, treble 17, and
Game
double 8,
shot on the seat
all
play.
add up to 88.
Richard.
So Hendo, yes, he's qualified, but not on the top of Group 2
Seventh
yet.
final leg. It's
He
John
wants
to
the
throw
top spot.
first. Game on.
He might well have to win this leg.
Qualifying on top. Interesting concept. Richard North qualified on top
50.
of Group C. But actually, I don't think we give Richard North enough credit for how good he was in 2018-2019. We talked all week about him being a tour card holder, qualifying for the match play, qualifying
100.
for the World Championship. However, the 2018 World Championship, now if you're not familiar with the system, the top 32 from the Order of Merit system, the 2-year ranking
60.
system, the world rankings go in, and then it's the top players off the Pro Tour Order of Merit. Richard North qualified for the World Championship, rank number 1.
57.
Yes, that really does deserve a lot of credit. You think about some of the players who have done that in their career. Gary Anderson, Steve Farmer,
60.
Stuart Kellett. Great, great players who've had superb seasons outside the top 32 in the world. North is one of those names. And after 9 darts thrown here, Hendo has slowed down
60.
just a little bit, but Richard does not punish him. The moment I say he's slowing down, he presses the accelerator and he speeds right up.
That is his 4th
60.
maximum of the game.
John, you require
However,
151.
in regards to importance, quite possibly the biggest.
That'll
97.
do. A massive lead of 170. In fact, the only person to hit a 170 this week, I do believe, is Richard North.
83.
In a setup shot.
John, you require 54.
To finish the job. He was 3-0 up. And he wins it 4-3. The winner of Group 2 is John Henderson. And North has still got work to do when he takes on Niall Culleton in game number 6. This is a superb night of darts. We've seen a great level of performance. I don't think the averages in that game reflect just how well they played. But if you look at the checkout percentages, they were very impressive indeed. On debut, Henderson's in the semis, and he could still make Champions Week. North will be back in Game 6, but before we get there, it's going to be Fallon Sherrock and Lee Budgen in a shootout to see who joins Jared Cole in the semi-finals from Group 1 after the break.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where John Henderson has secured progression through to the semi-finals and in some style getting the better of Richard North by 4 legs to 3, hitting 4 maximums in the process. And it is a game that, as far as the crowds here at the Live Lounge are concerned, are absolutely enjoying. And you can be here every single Saturday night. As you can see, they really are enjoying the action. Dartshop.tv, the place to go for tickets for every single Saturday night. They're complimentary as well. So why don't you be a part of the atmosphere here at the MODUS Super Series? They're certainly enjoying themselves, and they're going to enjoy a brilliant clash between Fallon Sherrock and Lee Budgen. And if you can hear me, Paul, Matt, it's over to you.
We can hear you, Henry. We can just about see you on the Shane McMahon cam, by the way. Just don't jump off the balcony onto a table into the Undertaker or anything like that. But, yeah, I hope you haven't got a nosebleed up there. That's a very, very high drop. But there is a very big fall, possibly, for someone in this game. Because this is a shootout to see who goes through Group 1 with Jared Cole, who's already won the group. So, win this game, then have a 2-game break and be involved in semi-final 2 against John Henderson, the winner of Group number 2. Matthew Edgar, your thoughts on this evening so far?
First leg, it's Fallon to throw first. Game on.
I've got 2 thoughts. The first one is this night has not disappointed. I stood up on that balcony yesterday, and this went out as a tweet. This got clipped
100.
up when I said this night has all the ingredients and the potential to be the best finals night that we've had in this series. So far, I stand by that statement.
95.
Second part of that is going back to Henry on the balcony, and I'd kick myself if I didn't get this in. You said Shane McMahon. I got Jeff Hardy at the Royal Rumble vibes, which is actually happening tonight. Yes, if you're tuning in, you knew I was going to mention the Royal Rumble tonight. Of course I was going to.
I was thinking more along the lines of Shane McMahon when he was on that structure. And he did that huge elbow drop. Was that against Kane?
At SummerSlam, I believe it was.
Anyway, this is darts. And that's a body slam right there.
180.
From the Queen of the Palace. She's a bit of a trailblazer in a male-dominated sport. A bit like China was in the Attitude Era in WWE. Sherrock takes the lead in the first leg where she has the darts.
57.
And approaches a 2-darter when she comes back. These two have already played one game.
Requires 74.
Fallon losing with a 91.79 average. And that's a bit of a fortunate miss, actually. It means she's still got single to double combo as opposed to bullseye at the end.
58.
And Budgen could bank the first 170 finish of the week if he takes this.
$134. Fallon requires 16.
2 8s. That's not a good dart. Double 4.
Game shot.
That is a good dart.
Fallon Sherrock.
There was pressure on that one as well because Budgen, to his credit, had 170 and laid up for double 18.
Second leg, it's Lee to throw first.
It was good darts, and you mentioned that we haven't had a 170 this week. It would have been so ironic if Lee Budgen was the player to get that 170, and I'll tell you why. Lee Budgen won a Challenge Tour title in 2018. He won that title, beating Michael Barnard in the final 100. With a 170 finish.
Kind of ironic coming from you, Matt, considering the things that you've done with 170s in the past. Slightly told over the last 2 or 3 years. I've never heard that story until now.
Ironically, it's just piqued my interest, actually, because I'm looking at the screen now and I've got the stats of it. And just here, there's a picture of Gary Anderson on the screen as well. And it just reminded me, it was actually Gary Anderson that 170 happened against, but Lee Budgen was equally as impressive. Well, in terms of winning the title, but against Michael Barnard. Now, it hasn't aged as well as it did at the time. But Michael Barnard that year won 3 of those Challenge Tour titles and qualified for the World Championship off the Pro Tour Order of Merit.
Oh, is it a 156?
138.
No, it's not. But it's a very awkward-looking double 9. With pressure coming.
96.
Lee,
you require 18.
No hesitation, straight for it.
Game shot.
And that's an excellent dart from Lee.
Lee Budgen.
All square. We're down to best of 5.
Just to struck a bit more credit on Michael Barnard in 2018, the person Lee Budgen beat in that final. He qualified for the World Championships in that qualifying criteria in 21st position.
134.
He qualified ahead of people such as Luke Humphries, who was in 25, Dimitri Vandenberg, who was in number 27, Ryan Searle, who was in number 31,
59.
Paul Nicholson, who was in number 23, Matt Edgar, who was in number 32.
Oh, well. How'd you get on in that tournament?
Darius Labanowski.
60.
Oh, don't get me started. Kevin Burness. Let's move on. Let's talk about this one because we're not under any pressure. These guys are, though.
59.
And Sherrock plays her best here this week when she's under pressure. But I'm starting to make an observation about her first dart.
48.
It's continually hitting the small 20, meaning she has to go for cover. Her cover shots have been very good. But let's see where she goes with the first dart this time. She's got to start finding the upper part of the 60 bed with the first dart to take the pressure off. And it's short again.
Yeah, that can just be a little bit of tension in the arm, a little bit nervous. Just hold on to the dart a little bit too long. You're just trying to place it in the target rather than throwing and propelling the dart.
Lee, we've talked about this week with excellent technique. Very rigid.
58.
Lovely punctuation of that follow through.
138.
But Fallon's got 6 darts from 138. Now, do you go 18s here? And just forget about the lead?
60.
I would have gone 18s on dart 2.
Agreed. I'm not really an advocate for going for the 18s on 118, but in that spot with 2 darts, I think with the bed covered, it was the right thing to do.
133. Fallon, you require 78.
Big pressure on this. Double top.
38. Lee, you
now
require
Budgen can
58.
make his move. Tops for him.
48.
He can't hit it.
Fallon, you require 40.
This is big.
Game
And
shot
it's
on the
in,
third leg.
but only just.
Sherrock.
That's why we've got the wires on the board, you see. She holds the darts close to her chest.
Fourth leg, it's Lee
She
to
doesn't
throw
give a great
first.
deal
Game
away.
on.
I wouldn't want to play cards against her. She is poker-faced. She's not immune to anxiety and pressure, but she can handle it. But this guy, this week on the 180s, I've got to talk about this. I mentioned his likelihood of hitting more than 1 maximum per game this week. He didn't get any maximums in his first game. He's got one here. 25 for the week.
51.
You get 25 maximums in a week here. You've got my attention.
Considering he's had 2 days off as well.
Precisely. The only person who's hit more maximums than him is Richard North. And Richard's played 10 more matches than him. It's not really a fair reflection, is it?
121.
After 15 games, he'd hit 24, and North had hit 26 after 25 games.
62. Lee, you require
Those wayward darts
149.
have got to be erased. Potentially more so in the legs where she throws first, because it seems that she's better at leading when she starts
95.
than when she's chasing in the odd-numbered legs. I mean the odd-numbered legs. By her admission, this would feel like the odd-numbered leg because she's going second.
Lee, you require 54.
Tops for a hold of throw for Lee Budgen. There's a couple of darts to break in the last.
44.
And the longer this goes, and the more he starts to miss doubles, the more that's just going to eke into the psyche and just make you worry. Then you start chasing the scores a bit more.
Lee required 10.
And they both missed 5 darts at a double so far. And that's not what you want to see. It was double 1. Did he go for that?
Game shot.
Doesn't matter. It's hit.
Lee Budgen.
2-2, and it's now best of 3 to see who comes through this group. Fallon still retains
Fifth
the
leg
throw.
is Fallon to throw first.
Can she
Game
defend
on.
it again? She's got fans out there wearing her shirt. And this is how big of a player she can be to young talents out there, young fans. We've got young boys wearing her shirt out there, not just young ladies.
84.
Lee Budgen knows he has to break the throw of Fallon. Fallon's a good match player. She'll be very aware of what she needs to do. She just needs to... She's got the 140 on the board. I was going to say she just needs to find a treble. And it'll just keep Lee Budgen at arm's length.
100.
It's fascinating that there is such a big chasm between them and the averages.
93.
12 between them in an even game. Fallon is not averaging 80. I think that's a sign that Lee has been way more impressive on his darts.
39.
It's a sign that Lee's been a lot more consistent, and that's why he's had 2 darts to break Fallon, where Fallon's been nowhere near a breaker throw. If that continues, you've got to say Lee Budgen will get an opportunity somewhere, whether it's a 108, 100, something like that sort of era.
Or has he had it already?
96.
We can't predict the future as much
Fallon,
as we might try.
72.
Double top.
Game
And
shot.
that is 3-2 Sherrock. She needs 1 from the final 2 legs. Judging on what we've seen, it's more likely to come in the next leg.
It's Lee to throw
But this is where she
Game
can
on.
attack. If he makes 1 big error, she could be in.
This leg for Fallon is a freebie. It's a
60.
free roll. Let's go down the James Wade school of thinking.
81.
That's a really interesting deflection she got off her flight there. That dart actually looked like it was going to hit the 60 until it hit that first flight and just careered to the right-hand side.
134.
Beautiful switching there from Lee. You could hear a drop of condensation from a pint glass
140.
hit the tablecloth in here when they're throwing. Great order from this darts crowd. Brilliant recovery.
121.
Just keeping Fallon at arm's length. But she is making a move. And it's the best kind of move. She's on a 2-darter to get into the semis, and there's nothing Lee Budgen can do about it.
Timed to perfection. And that score would have just got the heart rate of Lee Budgen
Fallon, you require
raising.
100.
Lee Budgen is in trouble.
How much trouble?
80.
Now he needs to find
Lee require
his second
126.
ton-plus finish of the week just to stay in this match. And he can't find the requisite treble, and Sherrock has now got
58.
3 clean darts at double 10
Fallon, you require 20.
to make the semis. And she
Game,
does make the
shots,
semis.
And the match.
A brilliant
Sherrock.
sprint to the finish, but you have to say she really did hold her throw well in that match. But the 180 in that final leg from 280 points, that changed the complexity of that leg, which she broke in the end. 86 the average, but in the last couple of legs, she showed her real class. 13-darter to break in the final leg to make the semi-finals. She's there all right. The runner-up in Group 1 will play John Henderson in the semi-finals. That is something to look forward to. But now we need to find out who plays Jared Cole. The winner of the next game will stay on the board in the semi-finals. to play Jared in Game 7. Take a breather now. We will too. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Fallon Sherrock is through to the semi-finals, where she's going to take on John Henderson after getting the better of Lee Budgen in our previous encounter. The 6th game is the last of the pool stages, and it is all on the line. It is effectively knockout darts. The victor will face Jared Cole in the first semi-final. Effectively, it is winner stays on territory here at the MODUS Super Series. The players already here at the MODUS Live Lounge, which really is packed out to the rafters this evening. They really have been treated to a spectacular night at the darts, and we're only halfway through. And so let's rejoin our commentary team for match 6, the final one of the group stages. It's Paul Nicholson and Matthew Edgar. Gents.
Thank you, Henry. What an evening we're having. Thrilling stuff. We may not be getting the massive averages, but we're getting such an amount of tension out there with this Week 12 qualifying for Champions Week. And already we have just said goodbye to Lee Budgen, the Group A winner. It hasn't gone his way this evening, but we are about to say goodbye to one of these gentlemen. Is it going to be bye-bye Niall? Well, see you later,
First
Richard.
leg, it's Richard to throw first. Game on.
Richard's on home territory and he has the darts. After an 11-game winning streak,
100.
it came to a screeching halt against Hendo, who won Group 2. Does that damage his chances?
123.
Or does he just reset and get back to work?
Without a doubt, it damages his chances. But without a doubt, those chances are not over. He's just got to win this game. And already,
60.
you can see in the faces, even practicing, he was, come on, he was trying to get himself going. He knows what this game means. He knows what the opportunity
100.
is. And he did start slow against Hendo, but you can forgive him for that, considering how good John Henderson was.
140.
John was excellent. I think he was a lot better than the 85.86 average reflected.
60.
North, for me, was better than the 80.5 average. But then again, we are so engrossed in these games tonight, Matt, that we are barely looking at the
45.
averages until the very end of the match. That's the way it should be.
Oh, it's been a fantastic night. And so far, brilliant in terms of
121. Richard, you require 156.
This is the finish he hit yesterday to win Group C with those 20 points.
140.
You're not going to get it.
No, you require
That's what you
97.
want next. Is he going double 19? He gets it for tops.
77.
He's been hitting those double-doubles
Richard, you
earlier in
require
the week.
16.
First blood is not
No
Richard
score.
North.
I was just about to
No,
say
you
when I
require
mentioned
20.
the timing, that 140 was perfect from the man you dubbed Mr. Perfect. 2 sevens. It's still on.
Game shot on the
takes
first
that out.
leg.
6 double
Niall
7.
Culleton.
20 points. What Niall Culleton required. And Richard North loses his throw
Second leg, it's Niall
at
to
the
throw
very
first.
first
Game
time
on.
of asking and carved out an opportunity. He should have had 3 darts. He only had the 1.
Somebody's on it right here.
140.
Cullerton's playing well. I know that was only a 17 darter, but he's put North under pressure.
140.
First start of Cullerton so far in this match has been so good.
81.
And the way he was able to respond after that bad first start when going for double 10
81.
was just symptomatic of the game that he's got. He's not been hitting the same heights as other people this week. In fact, his highest average is just shy of 91.
95.
Lots of stuff in the 80s, even the high 70s. But he's been grinding
123.
a bit like the lathes he uses when he's a carpenter back in Ireland.
There's that first start again that you alluded to. So many times in the treble, it just relaxes you with
Richie
the throw.
require 157.
Minimum requirement done on dart 1.
I think he's in trouble here.
57. No, you require 45.
Cullerton's going to go for 5 and double top.
5.
Chance for North.
Richie, you require 100.
He needs a catalyst. Look north. Not
60.
far north enough.
No, you require 40.
To double his lead. Put himself halfway
Game shot
to
on
the
the second
halfway point
leg.
of this tournament,
Niall
the
Culleton.
semi-finals. He is in control of this game at the moment.
My
Third
pick
leg, it's Richard to
earlier
throw
tonight
first. Game on.
was Richard North at 4-1. I just thought that was a very, very fair price for what we've seen from
57.
him this week. But the dynamic of tonight's action is so different to group play. The intensity is higher. The pressure is higher.
83.
You add a little bit of money into that, and it goes up again. We're talking about the kind of money that will be the equivalent of
57.
maybe 2 months' wages if you've got a job.
And the opportunity to come back for what would be the equivalent of a year's wages.
Yeah, £5,000 on offer tonight. A week from now, it will be 4 times as much.
60.
Showing just a little bit of fragility towards a man who shows very little in the way of fragility mentally.
95.
Never complains about the long schedule of these weeks. He's had plenty of weeks with us in the past.
59.
He loves playing here with us. He loves hanging out with the players. He loves to be very kind. He's been very kind to us the last few days, giving us a few brownies.
59.
And he's even given you a cheesecake today. Typical Irish hospitality. But he's being very, very stingy
43.
towards the man in blue and grey.
And I think Richard North is starting to get that seed of frustration beginning to grow.
100.
Because his darts have been close to the wire without going in.
100. Now you require 98.
Again, he has to wait to see if Niall will miss. And on 98, he does go 18s. It's his way of doing it.
58. Richard, you require 125.
This is for a hold that would feel like a break because he is so far back. Niall having a dart.
105.
And Richard North. That's only his second
Now
dart
you
at the
require
match.
40.
His miss in this match has been low. Oh, the nerves getting to Cullerton. That's 21 darts thrown in this leg.
Richard, you require 20.
And North is given a lifeline.
That was a big chance to get the double breaker
Game
throw.
shot on the third
Richard
leg.
North right
Richard
in the
North.
middle of that one. And at the halfway point of that leg, I was starting to get to the point where I was starting to doubt
Fourth leg,
Richard
it's Niall
North.
to
I was
throw
starting to think
first.
this is going to go
Game
3-0.
on.
Cullerton's going to be throwing for the match, and Richard North's going to think, why didn't I turn up tonight? There is still plenty of time for Richard North to turn up
41.
and get into this match.
This is one of those scenarios a bit like having the last group game on a Thursday.
100.
Because if you can win it, you play the next game again. The winner of this game could be in the final before Hendo plays Sherrock.
134.
I think with all due respect to the first semi-final, that one is going to headline.
60.
There's just a little less fluency from Richard so far this evening. He's really battling instead of letting the game come to him.
45.
He's averaging 80 for the night. That's almost 10 points down in the last couple of days. His first dart has let him down. But that is much better. The concentration of those 3 darts together is exactly what he's looking for.
100.
Big, big last dart from the big man from Ireland. Richard North would have been hoping that that was just a double figure score, a 60, a 41.
100.
For a man who uses the ball at every opportunity, he doesn't use it at the right one.
I don't get that at all. I was looking towards the bullseye with the last dart. I've got no idea why he didn't do it.
140.
And now he's
Richard, you require 101.
got a 3-darter instead of a 2-darter. Does it matter?
61.
This time he misses it just high. That was a very positive effort.
41.
But full credit to Culleton, who approached this with a big 2-treble visit. And he threw
31.
that so quickly. That was out of rhythm and just a bit impetuous.
Richard, you require 40. Game shot on
And
the
I'll
fourth
just go
leg.
back to the shot
Richard
before
North.
of Richard North. He wanted that 101 and he went right down to a dart, the double that was on the wire. Niall Culleton's a bit of a watcher at times and he likes to watch.
Fifth leg, it's
Now,
Richard to throw first.
When you're in that
Game
situation,
on.
you know it's going down to... You can't start your preparation, you can't start the process until that last... I know when it was so close, I wonder if that just rocked the concentration very slightly of Niall
127.
Culleton.
Just noticed something about Richard as well. Now, before we talk about it, this guy has missed 5 darts at a double in the last 2 legs. He could have won this 4-0. But what I noticed in Richard when he threw his second dart of the previous visit, there was a little squint. And whenever someone does that in a marksmanship sport, it's one of focus. He was in the 60, then he just squinted as if to say, right, I'm on it now.
You missed at the back of the stage there as well. Richard North just signalling to someone in the crowd. He was waving his hand as if to say he's shaking. He's feeling it.
It's okay. Nerves are a good thing. They're just a sign that you want something.
And the body will react to help you. It will give you adrenaline. Adrenaline is going to help the senses, the touch, the sight, all things that are good for a game of darts.
Well, this is not good. This is amazing. 71 left with 1 dart.
114.
Well, that's not a good dart, unfortunately.
161.
Even a small 13 would have been better. I just wonder what he's going to do now.
137.
Is it going to be treble 9 or is it going to be treble 17?
Richard, you require 67.
This is a huge shot with Cullerton sitting on 12s after 12. Double top has not been kind.
27.
And it still isn't.
No, you require 24. Game shot on the 5th leg.
Great leg there from Niall Culleton when you consider that he was 2-0 up and, like Paul Nicholson said, could have won the game 4-0 already. Richard North came back, got the game level, had a dart at tops to take the lead for the first time in the match. Niall Culleton goes out in 13 darts. When we talk about timing, that is what it will be next to it in the dictionary.
How much was that in the corner of the double 12? Now, we're watching it on a monitor.
55.
And I had to check it twice. He's got to do what he did from 2-0 down. If he doesn't, all of that work in Group C was in vain.
125.
But this guy is just so good at winning games like this. Games in that mid-80s range. That's what he's been doing, not just all week,
59.
but throughout his MODUS Super Series career. He's never been one to scare record averages or put in
100.
4 out of 4 doubles twice in 2 games. He's someone who grinds you down.
84.
He retains the darts after 3 visits. That's in.
85.
What does North need? Possibly a 140 here. More would be nice.
98. No,
it's
you
not the worst visit in the world.
136.
Niall will just be thinking 100 here, leave himself on. He did the hard bit. He got the treble. Went aggressive.
82.
Leaves a 2-darter. Richard North missed a couple of darts on the tops, but earlier in the week, this was Richard North range.
Single's got to be good. It is. Can tops come up trumps finally? It's cost him all night long.
No, you require
he thinks that's cost him the match.
Think he might be right. And Cullerton misses more crucial darts, but they're more crucial than the ones from earlier. They were to qualify for the semis, and North is still alive.
Richard, you require
this is for a break of throw, and if he hits it, he will have the darts in leg 7.
This is 2 players that are living every single moment. I think Richard North's done the right thing here. Take the sting out the moment a little bit. Try and settle himself.
He didn't settle.
15.
And that last dart was a sign of the white flag. You can see it in his eyes. You can see it in his mannerisms.
No, you require
He thinks
40.
it's the end. Cullerton's had match darts, 2 of them. 1 left. And it banks it.
And the match.
He's in the
Cullerton.
semi-finals and will stay on the board to take on Jared Cole in semi-final 1. Richard North's challenge stops in the middle portion of Saturday night's finals in week 12, and you can see the disappointment in his face, but he ultimately can only blame himself because he missed 8 darts at a double in that match. Niall Culleton missed 15. And that, in turn, tells you how many chances that Richard allowed him in that last qualifying game. We'll take a bit of a break now, but when we come back, it will be the semi-finals with Cole against Cullen.
This is the MODUS Super Series. $180.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where the group stage matches have been completed for this Saturday night. Matthew Redger is alongside me up here on the balcony, and when you came up to join me in the advert break that we had just there, we both just went, wow. We marvelled at the quality we have seen on show here this evening.
And then I followed that up with, I told you so.
He usually does this, by the way, if you're just tuning in for the first time.
Well, we stood here yesterday at the end of it, and I made a bold prediction. I think I even pointed down to the stage, and I says, tonight has the potential to be the best finals of this series. And so far, it's lived up to that billing. It was a big billing. I set a high bar because I knew the quality we had, and we've had some amazing darts, some amazing games, and there's plenty more to come.
By the way, the players have really played up to this crowd who've really got into it tonight.
Oh, absolutely, and you will. It gives you that vibe. The thing it gives you is instant feedback. You hit something good, you get that instant reaction, that ripple of applause, that wave. And that's what you want, that instant feedback, that gratification straight away. That's what humans at the moment live on, instant gratification, and they're getting it from this lot.
Most definitely, it has been some night, hasn't it, so far. We'll talk about the semi-finals in just a second, but before we do that, it's one of our favourite times of the week. It's checkout of the week time. So let's have a look at the best 5 checkouts of the week so far. And we begin here with this 142 for Richard North. The timing of this was impeccable.
Timing and the route, it just looked so appealing, the 2 treble 17s. Danny Smith had a bit of horrid week, but he took highlights, 100 average in his opening game and a 167 in his game there against John Henderson.
Jared Cole, the 130 is impressive, the context even more so.
The context is what makes that the biggest finisher. We'll get back to that in a second.
Well, talking about big finishes, Niall Culleton, a 157 to save the match against Lee Budgen in Group A.
Context makes the impression there on that one as well. The 144 from Mark Graham as well here. 2-0 down to Danny Smith, and this was sort of a turning point for him. But Mark Graham played well in patches this week. He'll be a little bit disappointed with how it turned out.
Tweet in your suggestions to check out the week. There's 5 options there for you. It's at MSS Darts on Twitter. Don't forget to give us a subscribe. And if you're with us on the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel, don't forget to follow us on there as well, because on top of the live content that we bring you 6 days a week, every week, we've got plenty of bonus content, which is going to be produced as the year goes on. As you can hear, the 2 players are on the hockey behind us. Jared Cole against Niall Culleton, the first semi-final. Very quickly, a prediction.
Jared Cole makes the final. He's playing very, very well tonight. He came into this the favourite, rightly so. He's living up to that billing.
This could be a semi-final to savour here at the Super Series. Saturday night has not disappointed yet. 3 more games to go, 3 more tungsten tussles to decide the Week 12 champion. This man's going to race his way down to the commentary box, where he's going to join the asset for our final 3 matches.
Thanks, Henry. What an evening so far. And I'm with Matthew Edgar on this. I don't think we've hit the heights yet. There's plenty more to come. This man, Jared Cole, has meandered his way through to the semi-finals with ease. He's won 8 legs tonight and lost 2. He's also put in the biggest average of the night, 98.25 in beating Fallon Sherrock. And he was tested in that game as well. But now his test turns to Cully, who came through that nervy encounter with Richard North just now. No time to reset the machine and get ready for a knockout match. That's what we have now. Knockout darts.
First leg, it's Jared to throw first. Game on.
And double your money darts as well. The money that you've banked But getting to the semi-finals on Saturday night, or should I say now Sunday morning,
97.
could be doubled if you win this best-of-7 leg match. And then when you get to the final, you could do it again.
140.
Knockout darts. Knockout darts from two heavyweight darters. Two big punchers in the darting game. And punchers don't land any bigger than a 180 in this one.
I have to say one thing at this juncture, because Jared,
100.
when he was interviewed at the start of the show, he said something about breaking in this new barrel. Stick with it, Jared.
140.
They look really good to me. They are a little bit different to his previous barrels, which weren't as grippy as these.
81.
But
Jared, you require 84.
why he changed, I don't know. But it really is a change that suits him.
Game
And
shot
that's
in the
why.
first leg.
12 darter
Jared
to start
Cole.
the semi-finals. And because he won his group tonight, he started this
Second leg,
semi-final.
it's Niall to throw first.
And
Game
in order
on.
to break him, Niall Culleton needed a 9 darter to start this semi. A message has been sent.
100.
Just want to go back very briefly to the balcony there.
44.
When you look at the numbers for what you're hoping to be tweeting us in at the moment at MSS Darts in regard to the checkout of the week, those selections that we gave you, the smallest finish out of the numbers was
95.
Jared Cole. Don't let that fool you. We're not asking you to pick what was the biggest finish. We could do that. We could tell you it's 167.
177.
The context of that 130 finish was a match saving, a tournament saving, and one that gave Jared Cole his progression out of that group.
140.
I'm with you. I'm voting C, Jared Cole. The context attached to that 130 for the match against Reece Colley
140.
was just gargantuan. If he didn't hit that, he's probably not even in tonight's action.
85. Jared, you require 140.
He is going a little bit bananas so far in this semi. And we're looking at a player who has
44.
won a title
No,
with
you
us
require
at the
81.
end of the week before. That's something that Niall has not done.
Game shot.
But he has won that leg in 14
Niall
darts.
Culleton.
And all of a sudden, knockout darts is getting these players to play their best.
Third leg,
Again,
it's Jared to throw first.
As somebody
Game
who's
on.
experienced this, I can vouch for it as well. The second you get past that little group phase,
41.
you feel like you've already hit a level of achievement because you've come through your group, you've come through a group tonight. You're now happy with
100.
the amount of money that you've picked up because they've now got a sizable paycheck coming their way, regardless of what happens here. This is where the event gets fun.
70.
One thing I've noticed with Mr. Cullerton tonight as well is that he's not changing his darts like he was earlier in the week.
99.
He went from the bronze-coloured set to the golden-coloured set to the natural tungsten-coloured set to the blue set. He even
100.
used 3 different coloured darts at certain points of the week. But tonight, he has stuck with these ones all night long.
I've also got to
87.
mention that I did do a week of commentary before Christmas, which Niall Culleton was on. And that weren't the Niall Culleton we're seeing this week. That Niall Culleton
60.
was weak, was deliberate, was struggling, was missing chances. He has put in some graft over the Christmas period,
133.
and he is getting instant rewards.
Great time for a 140.
No, you require 82.
But Cullerton, the werewolf, could howl if he finds 16 in bull. Double 9. That was aggressive.
Game
And it's
shot
brilliant.
The third leg.
15
Niall
dart break a
Culleton.
throw. We are not seeing anybody miss doubles in this semi-final. And right now, we are seeing a player going for it.
Fourth leg, it's Niall to throw first. Game on.
Like the aggressive play on the treble 16s, I'll tell you why. We have seen so many players just end up creeping in the double 16 when throwing for the single 16.
97.
How many times do you see someone just throwing the area of the 16s thinking it's a big target, I won't miss it, it'll go in? Niall Culleton went for a focal point of that target, the treble.
123.
Aim small, miss small. To quote something from one of my favourite movies. And he went for a pinpoint, he didn't just throw in the area.
85.
It was a focused, concentrated dart. And he got the reward.
What's the movie that's from? Aim small, miss small.
The Patriot.
58.
I'll stick that on my list. Is that Mel Gibson?
Yes, and Heath Ledger.
85.
This man is called the King of the Castle. But we're not in a castle.
96.
This used to be a church.
It could happen. We could have the final, the King of the Castle versus the Queen of the Palace, for the big check.
119.
The werewolf is looking to make sure that doesn't happen. And there is a certain Highlander
81.
that is looking to spoil that party as well.
115.
Treble 19 would have left double 19. And Jared now has
75.
what I classify
Jared,
as one of the most tricky finishes on the dartboard. Double 16.
127.
I think that was a harder way to get it than the traditional route. He's not going to go until he's ready. Just checking the score here to make sure that he is ready for his 57. And he's going to reset his process. I think this is really good experience. Apologies for the slight glitch on our graphic there. It's now accurate. Niall's just checking
Niall's
that.
last score was 75.
But a lesser experienced player may have got flustered here, but not the Irish captain. He's going to go through the process again. Apologies for this. Who's this going to affect more, Matt? Is it Niall or Jared? Because right now, to me, I don't think it's phasing Niall. Might even help him.
Now you require 40.
He just throws that pretend dart, just gets the arm moving.
Game shot on the fourth leg.
Well done,
Niall
Niall
Culleton.
Culleton. A very big pause there, but that did not affect him. Like you say, that experience. You don't
Fifth leg, it's Jared to throw first.
You don't
Game on.
lead a whole nation into darting battle if you do not know how to manage those situations.
If he takes out Jared Cole,
119.
you could probably classify Niall Culleton as public enemy #1. Because taking out Richard North,
100.
for starters, if he takes out Jared Cole as well, you will be hearing bookies coupons shredding all over the world.
60.
A lot of money has been placed on Jared and Richard over the last 24 hours. Nowhere near
100.
as much for this man. But is he finding his best stuff right at the end of the week? I said earlier in the night, his best average for the week was just a shade over 90. This is a good 7 better than that.
And that just shows you the
30.
quality of this battle. Jared Cole averaging over 100, losing 3-1.
140.
He'll still believe that he can get in this. He can rattle off 3 legs just like that. How many chances will he get? It's got to be Bull here.
95.
Got to be Bull.
Jared, you require
Needed
48.
101 to leave the finish. Or more. Did it matter? It
32.
did. If he'd have gone 25, and hit it, it would have been 170 for the win. Going 19s, he needed the treble to leave the finish.
100. Jared, you require 16.
This time, more of a must hit.
Game shot on the 5th leg.
That's what he produces.
Jared Cole.
Like that 130 finish that we keep going on about. The one you've just seen in the voting for checkout of the week.
6th leg, it's Niall to throw first.
He has got
Game
gears.
One chance to serve it out on his throw. At times in that game with Northie,
60.
he did show fragility, especially on leg-winning shots on tops. Can the quality that we've seen from Cole
93.
this week already shine through in the last 2 legs of the contest? With the information that we have at hand right now, Matt,
60.
who do you think is winning tonight? I'm pausing.
180.
You were waiting for that 180 to go in.
Before this match, I would have said Jared. Then I'm thinking, does he get through this
60.
game? Then if he does, is it coming from the next one, John Henderson versus Fallon Sherrock? I don't know.
I'm starting to believe that Jared Cole is not out of this match. That's consecutive maximums. He hits another 180, and Niall Culleton's hit 180 in 3 visits
60.
in this
Jared
leg.
require 48.
Jared Cole steps up with plenty of time to get the break throw that he nicked. There's that 16 we said about. When you've got that focal
Game
point,
shot on the 6th
there's
leg.
your focal point.
Jared
Double
Cole.
16. If you was listening to Paul Nicholson and you was ripping up those betting slips on Jared Cole, the favourite, not to win this group, go get yourself some
Final
sellotape
leg,
and
it's
start
Jared to
sticking
throw
it back
first.
together.
I
Game
hope we're
on.
good at jigsaws. You might need to be. What a spurt this is from Jared. This guy is a bit like Tyson Fury. He might be down, but he's
93.
not out.
That was a 12-dart leg from Jared, despite the fact he just threw one off the board.
I told you about his affectionate nickname with a few of us on the tour.
100.
We used to call him Jarhead. Or maybe he's massaging his military nickname with incredible
140.
marksmanship.
And in a way, you just envy what he's doing right now, because not only is he doing it, but he's doing it with such a relaxed throw and pace that
140.
almost looks like it's easy.
This is fast turning into one of the best games of the entire week. Cullerton's average has dived to 90.
58.
Cole's has gone up by 2 points. That's a measure of how well he's played in the last couple of legs. Trebles are needed. And trebles are found.
140.
He's going to get a look at that 1-2-1 to make the final.
Class from both. Cole to get back in this and Cullerton back-to-back 140s. This is going to be a grandstand
100.
finish.
Now you require 121.
Can he get a shot at the bull? Cole gets his go. As soon as that 17 is hit, he went to the table.
57.
Starts the process
Jared, you require
of
110.
possibly winning this with another key ton-plus finish. He doesn't get a look at the outer ring.
54.
Niall should.
Now you require 64.
He might get 2. He does get 2.
He only
Game
needs
shot.
1.
And the match.
And he makes the
Niall
final.
Culleton.
And he is the ultimate coupon buster. Niall Culleton will take on Fallon Sherrock or John Henderson in the Week 12 final. And Jared Cole put up such a spirited fight, but he gave himself just a little bit too much to do. And for the second time this week, we see somebody playing well and averaging over 100, but losing. Culleton with his best performance statistically of the entire week. A wonderful, wonderful win by 4 legs to 3. And he will now have a well-deserved break after playing 2 consecutive matches. And he will be in the final game of Week 12. Don't go far. That big game between Hendo and Sherrock is coming right up.
Wow, what a first semi-final we've just witnessed here at the MODUS Super Series. Niall Culleton, the first finalist in a scintillating game with Jared Cole. Pain for him here at the Super Series. 100 average, 3 180s, but on the wrong end of a 4-3 scoreline. So we're going to see Cullerton in the final. Who is he going to face? We have got a blockbuster second game between John Henderson and Fallon Sherrock coming up to see who's going to join him in the finale. Let's join our commentary team if they've got their collective breaths back. Here's Paul Nicholson and Matthew Redker.
Just about, Henry, just about. But this could be, to a lot of people, the main event of the evening so far. Cullerton takes a breather, and he will return in the final, which will be after this. Hendo undefeated tonight, but has had a bit of a break since his previous performance, which was in Game 4, beating Richard North 4-3. Your referee tonight is Charlie Corstefine. And Hendo will have the darts because he won his group. Another one of those little fringe benefits that you get for winning your group during the week.
First leg, it's John to throw first. Game on.
And most accurately for winning your group tonight. The only time all week long that we have a bull off for a match is the final.
121.
Do you see Fallon Sherrock as favourite or Hendo?
I think Hendo's favourite. If you look at where their careers have been.
96.
And in terms of the fact he's got the throw, but I don't think he's a massive favourite in this one, but he will be the favourite with the bookies.
140.
They've played each other the last couple of nights in Group B. It's one game all. Both games
83
were really, really good. Hendo won with a 94.16 average on Thursday night, beating Fallon 4-3. She averaged over 90 as well.
123.
But in the early hours of yesterday, Hendo lost 4-2 to Sherrock in a game that she needed
90.
to win
John, you require
just to get here.
117.
And she averaged almost 98. But what a hot start this is from John.
77.
He'll accept that because he's back for tops at the end of this visit.
95. John, you require 40.
Talked about John Henderson and tops quite a lot this week. Because he's always leaving it. It's his preferred choice. A lot of practice in.
Game shot on the first leg.
Takes the
John
lead.
Henderson.
I've actually had a tweet
Second leg, it's Fallon to throw first.
from
Game
John's
on.
best mate. Watching up in Huntley. Ryan is watching John. Feeling a little bit nervous, I'm
58.
sure. Maybe not as nervous as delivering his best man speech for John a few years ago.
And I was looking at this and thinking,
85.
is tonight the end of a road, the end of a journey for John Henderson, which has been a
140.
whirlwind since finding out he was going to lose his tour card about 5 or so weeks ago, where he comes here and after the Q school and after the Challenge
99.
Tour, and it's like a big ending to that little mini story. No. If he wins here, it'll be the middle of the story, because he'll actually be back again next week.
58.
Yeah, his wife Veronica, who I'm sure is watching right now, wishing him well. Maybe she's thinking,
59.
I don't want to see you for another week, John. Maybe she can get herself down here for Champions Week if he wins the next 2 matches. But that is a big
83.
if. Impeccable order by this really educated darts crowd this evening,
98.
who are all here free of charge. If you want to be here in a week's time for the Super Series 2 finals,
41. John,
you
you
better be
require
quick.
160.
Dartshop.tv is the website that you need for those places. They are going to sell out fast.
60.
Chance for Sherrock
Fallon,
to
you
get in this
require
semi-final.
121.
Ooh, double 18.
103.
That would have been the second time she's done that this
John, you
week.
require 100.
Whether you agree with the route or not, it didn't pay off. And Hendo did have
60.
a choice there.
Fallon, you require 80.
Two double tops or the 60 on the lie.
No score.
And Sherrock, who comes to the hockey very quickly,
John, you
quickly
require
busts
40.
the shot.
Game
Hendo
shot
takes full advantage and breaks
John
in 19
Henderson.
darts. That's 34 darts for the first 2 legs. She's pretty hard to get a read on,
leg, it's
but
John
right
to throw
now,
first.
I can
Game
confirm
on.
she is livid.
Yeah, she had an opportunity there to hold a throw. The bust, the slip down.
140.
The experience of John Henderson, you just got to feel he's going to get this leg wrapped up with the throw. And then Fallon is going to have to be
85.
perfect from there. He dubbed Richard North Mr. Perfect. Could she be Mrs. Perfect?
135.
Well, if she's Mrs. Perfect, that means she's married to Mr. Perfect, so I guess we'd have to call her Miss Perfect.
140.
Good response from Fallon after a somewhat C- start to leg 3.
96.
John's doing a good job here. 130 after 9 is a very strong scoring performance. He's put pressure on Fallon from the very off.
81. John, you require 130.
A couple of days ago, at this time of night, he was looking very, very tired. But he's
Game
anything
shot on the
but.
third leg.
He's energised.
John
He's
Henderson.
revitalised. Highlander is here to do nothing but win.
Fourth leg, it's Fallon
Donning
to
the
throw
Scottish
first.
blue.
Game on.
His own tartan. And he's in a really good place.
180.
I just want to take a moment quickly because we don't know how much longer this game could go for. John Henderson is literally a leg away now from the final and joining Niall Culleton.
100.
Fallon Sherrock, how big could this week be for her, considering what we've already spoke about in regards to... Hello.
180.
Because we said earlier in the night that maybe something could happen here. If she hits that 141,
48.
this will be
Fallon,
seen
you
around the
require
world
141.
many times. The collective groan. And even John flicks a smile.
43.
I think even he wanted to see her hit that. But now she concentrates on that big road ahead to try and get back in this semi-final. We will come back to your point, Matt.
134. Fallon, you require 98.
That's if Fallon can take care of business here on double 19.
Game shot on
And
the
that's
fourth
a beautiful
leg.
11-dart
Fallon
leg.
Sherrock.
I mean, how rude of Fallon. I was trying to make a point there so we could discuss her progress, and
Fifth
she doesn't
leg, it's
throw
John to
two
throw
180s
first.
and
Game on.
goes out in 11 darts.
Well, I hope that you want to start making this point again, and then they interrupt you once again.
I'm not even going to bother.
180.
Well, now we know how to keep Matthew Edgar quiet. We love you, really, Matt. It's been my distinct
60.
pleasure to be alongside you this week. It had been so much fun.
Yeah, it's been a good week. It's been a great week. It's been just everything's been so joyous about it. There's been such a good vibe everywhere about it. And we've been saying how we
81.
just feel something's going to happen. And we nearly got treated to one of the most magical moments I think we'd have had in Super Series history.
140.
She's not done yet, but she is a dart behind, with Hendo coming back to extend that 61-point lead.
95.
Henderson's had 2 ton-plus averages this week. They both came yesterday.
58. John, you require 145.
Henry asked him earlier, is he peaking at the right time? He might be. There is nothing that
100.
Sherrock can do about it now. You know for a fact he's going to go for 5 and tops.
58.
And the Queen of the
John,
Palace
you require 45.
may be ushered away from the church.
Game,
And she is, because Hendo's in the final.
John
And he
Henderson.
will go into the final as the favourite because he's the one who's putting in the big, big numbers. From the big, big man from Huntley. He's 1 game away from £5,000 and winning week 12 on his debut. And that 99.39 average with a 130 checkout and a 12 darter just proves that Hendo's got something left in the tank after what's been a bruising 3 weeks. Sherrock says goodbye for now. She put up such a big fight, but it's going to be Henderson Cullerton for the second time tonight in the final. We will have a look at that when we come back. Looking forward to it. I hope you are.
This is the MODUS Super Series. $180.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series. Got your breaths back yet? Because they were 2 fantastic semi-finals here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. John Henderson getting the better of Fallon Sherrock, who almost made darting history in that game.
I think we all wanted her to hit the 141. She didn't get the 7th treble, but just walking past John Henderson in the practice room on the way up to here, he said, I wanted you to hit that. I think we all wanted her to hit it. It would have been a great moment, but great moments for John Henderson, putting in a 99 average in that semi-final. He was too strong for her in the end, but I'm really looking forward to this final now because we've got 2 heavyweight darters who have got lots of experience of playing each other this week. If you'd have said on Monday morning that these guys would play each other 6 times or even 7 times this week, they would have said, yes, please.
And interestingly enough, you watch that first semi-final between Jared Cole and Niall Culleton. But again, Jared, 100 average, 3 maximums, comes out the other side.
Niall's got this reputation now of not doing things in a spectacular fashion, but finding a way to beat people who are doing those spectacular things. James Wade has made a career of it. So at this point, do we start calling Cully the somewhat James Wade-style werewolf? We'll get to that in coming weeks, I'm sure, but this is a huge, huge, huge game. Hendo's been brilliant the last few days. Only 1 more to go before he has another week of darts ahead of him. Cullerton's had a bruising schedule himself. Could be another week ahead for him. This is a lot on the line. £2,500 in money, but possibly a £22,500 game because 20 grand up for grabs next week.
We will talk about the final in a bit more detail in just a second, but let's give you the winner of the Checkout of the Week award. And there really was only 1 winner, wasn't there?
Call, steal it. With 4 20s and ball.
Jared, you require 130.
Well, he won a match earlier on a 160. This one marginally easier, I'd say. He only needs the 1 treble.
And there it is. Bullseye.
Oh,
boy, what's that?
Jared Cole.
That will feel brilliant for Jared Cole, but Rhys Colley is going to need some fresh air after that one.
It could only be the Jared Cole 130 against Rhys Colley, because if he doesn't get that, Rhys Colley wins that match. We're not even talking about Jared here tonight.
Absolutely. That was maybe the moment of the week. Never mind finish of the week. The timing of that was just so prime. And this is the great thing about 104 matches a week. We've got a lot of information. We've got a lot of things to choose from. But when we think back on this week, maybe in 4, 5, 6 months' time, I'm still going to remember that finish. That's why it was so good.
Indeed. So we'll talk about the final in just a second, but this is week 12 of the process. 11 players have already made it through. Here's the story of the series so far. So it began in October. Jim McEwen, you did this final against Scott Walters, and it really was a high-quality affair.
Yeah, it really was. It was great to see Scott Walters rebounding after a somewhat stuttering start to his career in this venue. But ultimately, Chucky was too good. And then Alex came, and Alex conquered.
Alexander the Great was the greatest that week, getting the better of Robert Rickwood. He just loves a little smile, even when he loses the final.
Yeah, I think Robert Rickwood is just a really good dose of positivity whenever he's here. We thought that maybe Wolfie would make his way to a Champions Week for the first time under this roof. But ultimately, it was the bearded dragon who found his way. And you could see how much that win in the final against Martin meant to him.
Indeed, so that was Justice Smith week 3. Week 4 was about a legend in the game, and Colin Osborne getting the bed of Aaron Monk, who literally just couldn't watch.
This is a great checkout from Colin, but is it as good as the reaction of Aaron Monk? Probably not, actually.
Let's have Monk Cam on the PDC Pro Tour next year. Week 5 was the turn of Jamie Kelling, and he's a player I think a lot of people got a soft spot for. He's been here from the start.
Yeah, Jake is a super guy, a big football fan, and he's gone through a bit of a rebuild in his throw, and he's had some injuries as well. So to make Champions Week was a big thing for him. Obviously, Graham Usher has got himself a tour card since this time, but he took out James Richardson on that occasion by 4 legs to 1.
For Usher, this has been a great vehicle for him in the Super Series.
It has. He's used it to its full potential. He's been one of the biggest hitters in it. We're not going to see him for a while, but we are going to see this guy, the guru, Raymond Smith, will come across the world just to play here next week.
Is an international event. Adam Warner, the ADC qualifier, he then went on to win a tour card. And really, this competition, we talk about vehicles before this, not many people knew of him, they know of him now.
I think everybody knows who Adam Warner is. He's got so many fans. But we know who Adam Mould is as well, showing that the ADC circuit is a great feeding system to give us new talent. Adam Mould is coming back, as is Superman.
Indeed, Matt Clark, well, fantastic, wasn't he?
Just to look back at what was happening maybe 15, 20 years ago. These guys played in the England squad together, but ultimately this time, Superman didn't get kryptonited.
Not this time, but Johnny Haynes was the man in week 11, and he's going to be a big danger, isn't he?
He is. He's going to bring fans here next week. If he makes Saturday night, he was deadly. Absolutely brilliant he was, taking out the WDF World Champion, Neil Duff. Who's going to join them?
So that is the 11 players. Let's have a look then at the lineup then, because as we mentioned, there are players with tour cars, so that means that Scott Walters is going to be in. The final spot will be on best runner-up, which you will announce in due course. Of course, the Week 12 winner will be in. So that is the lineup. Very quickly ahead of the Week 12 final. Paul Nicholson, the crowd are really getting ready for it. Who's taking the final spot as a winner?
I've got to go with Hendo. I just think he's played at a higher level. And I know that Niall has had this likelihood of winning against bigger averages and just doing the right things. I love the amount of adrenaline he's creating for himself, but I just get the feeling that the story is going to be written for John tonight, and he might not see his wife for another week.
Well, it's going to be some final in the offing. It's been a super Saturday night at the Super Series. We round it off with a final that could be a classic. It's Cullerton against Henderson. Paul Nicholson's going to race his way down to join Matthew Edgar, and this could be a classic, folks.
This could be £5,000 on the line. 2 players left standing. A place in Champions Week on the line. Big, big game of darts from 2 players that have had pretty astounding weeks this week so far. Let me just give you the tale of the tape in regards to the action that you have seen so far tonight. See, Paul Nicholson up on the balcony said that Niall Culleton's got a habit of beating players who average better than him. In that case, he is going to need to do that again. Running averages for tonight, John Henderson, 92.38.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. First leg, it's Niall to throw first. Game on.
Niall Culleton, 86.81. So just to case that point that he's going to have to repeat that form. Best finish of the night for John Henderson, 105 against the 82 of Niall Culleton. Checkout percentages, 57% for John Henderson against the 37 in Niall Culleton. And that is Niall Culleton's first 180 of the night. What a time to do 83. That.
He hasn't been a very good 180 hitter this week. In fact, he's been one of the worst of all of the players. Well, the fact of the matter is, if you are going to find them, you might as well save them for the final game, the 104th game of the week. Like I said to Henry, Matt, when you start on Monday morning and you've got 6 players in Group A, if you offer to all of those players the opportunity to play somebody 7 times in a week, you would take it, because you know that you'll be playing them in either a semi-final
now you require 121.
Simple as that. Hot start for Cully. Did he go for the 11s there? He did. I think he's drawn a line in the sand with himself and said, right, I'm going to go full throttle here. I'm going to go for my shots, whether John's on a finish or not.
140. Now you require 28.
For the opening leg of the final. 2 14s. Getting closer. Moves to the right. So he can really open up the arm and try and use the darts that are in the board.
Niall Culleton.
Culleton gets his first leg on the board like he got his first 180, which was the point I was trying to make before, once again, like Fallon Sherrock did in the last.
Is John to throw first.
Rudely interrupted by brilliance. Henderson 6 180s for the night so far.
And obviously Niall won the bullseye in the practice room, giving him the start.
59.
And in every scenario, you will take the darts. In a longer format match, we've seen people say you go first.
58.
But you don't do that here. Niall won it and took it. Hendo has been
140.
in a very different zone over the last couple of days. He has not lost tonight. He only lost
100.
one game yesterday to Fallon Sherrock. And that was to her averaging around 98. That's the kind of range that maybe will overtake him.
121.
And Cullerton's only delivered that kind of level in small doses, maybe for 1 or 2 legs at a time.
43.
Not for an entire match all week.
28.
Average for this evening, 86.81. Pretty much exactly what we're saying he runs at all the time. Mid-80s average.
125.
If he is to take another step,
153.
he's probably going to have to find 5 more on that all the time. But we're not talking about all the time right now. We're talking about right now. If he can dish out a 90 to 95 average in this game, he will give himself a chance, unless John finds more of what he's done tonight. Because at times, like you coined earlier, Matt, he has had those little spells of
John,
unplayable.
you 68.
Single 8 for tops.
28.
That wire was
now you
bent
require 142.
by his dart. It's not going to be one of the finishes of the week, which you guys voted as the 134 Jared Cole. Well done, guys, because you were absolutely
John, you require
right.
40. Yeah, fully agree with that one. Although right now, this will feel like finish of the week for John Henderson. Because everything is amplified.
John Henderson.
Even the 40s, even the little 42s, it all just means so much more. Makes
Third leg, it's Niall to throw first. Game on.
It's a weird scenario for John and for Niall, actually. They've both put themselves
41.
through the mill this week. 15 games played each, Monday to Wednesday. Then another 8 over the next couple of days.
40.
That makes 26 games they've played this week. This is a bruising schedule. And the reward for winning this game is not just £2,500 more than what they have right now. It is the possibility to do the same again next week. For a somewhat amplified
56.
amount. Just going to go back to a point I made a little bit earlier. He has not changed his darts all night. That tells me that this colour of barrel, this colour of flight and stem combination is what he genuinely wants to use.
Part of that, though, could come down to the fact that he's winning matches. Why would you change when you're winning? And I think the fact he's winning and he's playing well and he's winning those big moments.
Yeah, don't change a winning formula. It's pretty simple.
27.
Windows coming up dry in leg 3. So far, this is turning out to be Hendo's worst performance for a couple of days.
95.
He had his worst average at the back end of Thursday night. It was a mid-70s average.
45.
And after
now
that,
you require 80.
He said he was just a little embarrassed by it. And the feed-on effect for what he did on Friday was,
40.
well, it was floor shaking because he was incredible the first 2 games of Friday. But what did you say earlier in the week, Matt?
45.
There is no tomorrow.
Now you require 40. Game shot on the third leg.
2-1
Niall
Cullerton, and it's following the pattern of who throws first. Has Hendo got anything left in the tank? Because this game is being played on Cullerton's terms.
And the thing is, when we've looked at this time of night, This ain't Hendo hour.
58.
All week. We've got a good read on this now. We've had 5 days. 5 days of play. This isn't just once. Like I say, something happens once, okay. 2, it's a concern. 3, it's a pattern. 5, it's a problem.
So many times we see weekly titles won not by the best player,
59.
but by the person who can endure. And if there is a word to describe this guy this week, is that he's endured
140.
lots of matches that he could possibly have lost. And he's come out shining. He's not bothered by big averages. He just wants to get the points.
140.
But this is not about points. The points are gone. The group stages are gone. This is the sprint to the finish.
122.
This is to join the likes of Osborne and Justin Smith and Raymond Smith and Jim McEwen and the rest.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Niall Culleton is making a charge.
100.
This is a big,
Now you
big
require
leg from Culleton. He's
107.
hit 2 trebles with every visit so far. He only needs 1. He's going to get a dart at a double in this one.
Hendo's going to get one look at something
59.
like this.
John, you require 144.
Not close. He's getting a lot of encouragement from the audience. It's a very different atmosphere here. You can hear
78.
everything that people say. It's not
Now you
white
require
noise.
48.
But Niall's trying to keep the Hendo fans quiet. And he's doing a
Game
very
shot on
good
the
job of it as well.
Now
Because that is a
Culleton.
14 darter. And he will now have multiple opportunities to serve it out.
2 of the legs of the 3 that are possible to play, Niall Culleton will throw first.
5th leg, it's Niall to throw
If we are
first.
talking about
Game
odds,
on.
if we are talking about probabilities, Niall Culleton has just become a huge favourite to win week 12, the final week of Super Series 2,
97.
the final chance to qualify for Champions Week.
We did break the news to you, of course, before this final that Graham Usher and Adam Warner
125.
cannot participate. That's because they now have PDC Tour cards. Scott Walters has now been confirmed as
60.
a participant for next week because of his statistics in the reserve column. As for who will join him,
99.
will it be Niall or John? The other participant, TBC.
100.
We will have the news of that person as well coming up. Hendo's fighting now.
134.
He needs to find 3 straight legs to stay in Portsmouth for another week.
100. John, you require 143.
Jared Cole had a shot at this, but he went 19s first. That was in his semi-final against Cullerton. Coley's biggest finish of this entire week is 157.
43. Now you require
This is a little bit easier
144.
because you concentrate 2 dots on the same treble. That treble. But he can't get a second. He fancied it.
A match saving, a week saving
96.
opportunity
John, you
for
require
Hendo.
100.
Gonna get 2. His favourite tops.
Game shot on the 5th leg.
That
John Henderson.
is a good, clean kill from John Henderson, who had his backs up against the ropes. He was boxed into the corner. Niall Culleton sat on 48 for
6th
the
leg,
match,
it's
and John
to throw
Henderson
first.
finds a
Game on.
100 finish.
You said, Matt, that Niall had 2 chances to serve it out. The first chance is gone. Can Hendo take us the distance
85.
in what's been a pulsating evening? He has not been a weekly champion with us
22.
before. He doesn't know how to get across the line. Or should I say, he hasn't done it before. So he can't draw on any experience.
135.
Is there anything in the way of experience that John can draw on coming into this?
Oh, absolutely. John Henderson won the World Cup of Darts. What's the format of the singles of the World Cup of Darts?
Best of 7 legs. And he was really strong in those singles as well.
45.
Big positive experience over this format. Knows how to dig deep. Is digging deep.
I think the adrenaline's starting to kick back in.
125.
This won't be his second wind. It might be his 15th over the last 3 weeks.
Said he was boxed into the corner. He isn't just coming out swinging, he's coming out
140.
windmilling.
John, you require
He's giving it everything
156.
he's got for one last push. One last opportunity to loft that big novelty
60.
check up into the air with his name on it.
I think Niall's got his
60.
mind on the next
John,
leg
you
already.
require 96.
Maybe just a matter of seconds away. Just going to lay it up. I think with Niall on 2-3-4 here, that maybe going the 16s route was the right play. 71. If he'd have gone treble 16, he would have had a shot at double 14,
38.
but a single, and then he could have gone for the big 20 and just lay up for tops. Whereas now he's got to lay up for tops with one of the darts he's about to burn.
58.
It just so happens
John,
that
you
Niall is
require
not on a finish, and it
58.
doesn't really matter. To take us the distance.
18.
He's not there yet.
Niall, you feel, is already starting to think
120.
of the next leg.
John,
And
you
if John
require
Henderson can hit his
40.
favourite tops, it will be all on the next leg, the last leg.
Game
And
shot
we
on the
came
sixth
here on
leg.
Monday.
John Henderson.
3 groups ahead of us. Group A went the distance. Group B went the distance. Group C went
So
the
the
distance.
final leg, it's Niall
So it
to
only
throw
seems
first.
fitting that the final game, the
Game
big
on.
game for the big check, goes all the way to a deciding leg.
This night has delivered. I think we're all going to need a lie down after this. Whoever wins this leg might not sleep tonight.
140.
And you'll take that start every single time. Immediate pressure on Henderson.
100.
He's not far behind. But Cullerton, with a half-dart lead, is looking to back up the 140.
82.
What a lovely last dart that is.
We know Niall Culleton's an emotional man. We've seen it come out of him. And you just feel right now that he's just trying to bottle it
96.
off, trying to stay composed. You know the heart rate will be going. He knows what this means. He's been in the Super Series many times. And what a rapid increase in
100.
performance from the Niall Culleton we saw before Christmas.
Henderson is not going to get to a finish. But how close can he get to Niall's position?
100.
He's been just behind all leg. He's having to wait for a Cullerton mistake. Is that it?
27.
The only bright side is that Cullerton has found his way to a finish.
Big 3 darts. Needs a treble.
93.
Big treble.
No,
we
you
know
require
112 is in
152.
Hendo range.
It is. And that was a big finish he hit against Fallon Sherrock the other night. However, it's not in his hands.
120.
The Werewolf has missed a dart for the weekly title on
John,
double
you
16 and a
require
152.
112.
Can Henderson hit the 112? He gets a dart at tops. And he's hit it! Henderson wins with a biggie!
And the winner of the MODUS Super
And he
Series,
wins week 12 in the same sort of way that Chris Mason Henderson won week 12 in Super Series 1. Cullerton is devastated, and he has every right to be, because he missed double 16 to win the whole thing, and the Highlander has done it. What an evening, pulsating from start to finish. And even though the averages in that game were only mid-80s, that was a pulsating contest from start to finish. Henderson wins, but how did he do it from such a margin from behind? Only 180 in the contest from Niall, but boy, oh boy, I think we're all going to need a lie down after that one. We all want to find out how John Henderson is feeling as well after that 112 to win it all. He's on the stage with Henry Deacon. Here he is, the Week 12 winner. It's another Hendo Weekendo.
Paul, thank you very much indeed. John Henderson, first time here at the Super Series, weekly winner of the Super Series. It's not a bad way to finish either, was it?
That was tough, I must admit. I got this crowd behind me 100%, so I can't be thank yous enough. Absolutely fantastic. It's been hard all week. I've came for the Challenge Tour, and I struggled at the start, but something happened. I don't know what happened, but I got over the line, and Niall's a great player. It was a great final, but thankfully I got over the line.
I said to you earlier on this evening, are you peaking at the right time? Then the semi-final, you and Fallon had one of the best games we've seen on this stage since he moved to Portsmouth. And then in the final against Niall, just rat-a-tat-tat, to and fro. And
I didn't feel as though I played well all day until the Fallon game, and I don't know how I came about, but she's hard to play against. She really is. She's so good. But to get over that line on my first time here, it's because I'm maybe low in confidence with losing my tour card, but this is going to give me massively, and that's a lot in here. Absolutely fantastic.
Is this the perfect thing and the perfect time for you? Obviously, well, Hammond at Q School, then you had Challenge Tour coming here, winning here this week. Was this the perfect tonic at the perfect time?
I don't know. I just want to go home. I'm absolutely so tired. But no, the timing is good because we play so much darts now, and obviously losing my tour card, the hard work starts now to get back to where I should be. But I'm going to take. I'll take a hell of a lot from this because I think the MODUS Series, Super Series is absolutely fantastic. The setup's brilliant. The crowd come in on a Saturday night. It's what we would play against. So,
I don't know if it's good news or bad news, but you're actually back here, of course, next week because it's Champions Week. Of course, you're the winner of Week 12. More darts.
I'm going home. I need to go home. But no, I just do what I need to do. But it is what it is. But I'll look forward to that. So hopefully I can continue the form. And if I've got this crowd behind me, I think I'll win this next week.
You certainly are a crowd favourite. Just one final job before we let you go this evening, John, because we do have a presentation of a cheque which primetime Matthew Egger himself is going to bring up onto the stage for £5,000 to round off what's been a fantastic week. So Matthew Egger presenting the cheque there to John Henderson for £5,000. Just have a little look in the barrel of that camera there. There he is, your champion for Week 12, John Henderson. I suppose... And you never know, next week, we could be giving you another... Next week, I don't know if you can hear me or not by this point, but next week you could be getting a cheque with 20 on it.
That'd be handy. No, but thank you very much. The MODUS Super Series, from the commentary team to yourself, Henry, the crowd tonight, I can't be thank yous enough. I've struggled all week, and I've came out on top, so I can't be thank yous enough. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, John Henderson is our Week 12 champion. Remember, Champions Week begins Monday morning, 9:30 a.m. We will confirm the groups of Groups A, B and C, and of course as well the final spot, which we haven't announced yet for Champions Week. So stay across our social media platforms at MSS Darts. So we'll be back Monday morning, 9:30 for the beginning of Champions Week. But the final word this week goes to our champion, the Highlander, John Henderson, everyone!